Welcome back to the show. Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited for today's show. It's been a while, and by it's been a while since we've been live, number one, but it's also been a while since we've done a Jubilee middle ground, and I know this one's going to be spicy, okay, with a capital S, because it's fit men versus fat men, and I gotta say, I recognize one of the men on the fit side. It is none other than Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit, so we know this one's gonna be a doozy. Before we get straight into the video, we got Taylor in Nashville.
Hey, yeah, happy Monday or Tuesday. I saw someone say they're watching from Australia. I saw Belgium, Sweden, Brazil. So welcome back, everybody. Happy that we're back live. It does feel like it's been a minute.
It does. And, you know, I love to bring it back with the Jubilee Middle Ground. This is our bread and butter on this channel. So without further ado, let's react to Fit Men versus Fat Men. Is being fat a choice on Jubilee? And I recognize their moderator. It's John. Shout out to John. I don't think he doesn't work at Jubilee anymore. So this must have been filmed quite a while ago, but let's watch.
Do you think just being in a fat body and being in the public space encourages obesity?
Yes.
Shame is what led me to an eating disorder.
Whose fault is that,
what
though?
we're looking for is
Whose fault
stability.
Is that? That's your fault.
It's
See, the
an
problem is that you're a
amalgamation.
professional victim.
Would you agree, like, looking at his physique, like, he's at a perfectly, I would say, maybe healthy?
No.
You think?
He's definitely overweight, definitely obese.
Not the flexing.
My name's John. I host the Radical Empathy podcast. I used to direct episodes of Middle Ground, but I'll now be moderating today's discussion between jacked men and fat men.
Oh, nice. I wonder if John's just going to be moderating Middle Grounds from now on. We shall see.
Our first prompt is, I have felt disgusted looking at a fat body.
Okay.
Can our agreeers please step forward?
Okay. Pause. Okay. I'm going to have to step forward and agree with this one, and I'm going to explain exactly why I say that. Have you seen like the Nikocado Avocado or whatever YouTube channel where it's essentially a mukbang channel where this guy is just eating as much food as he possibly can that's sitting on the table in front of him, and he's doing it in like the most disgusting way possible. And of course, throughout this process, he's gotten, you know, abundantly overweight because he's just sitting there eating food. When I see videos like that, I'm like, something about it feels disgusting, and it's kind of like gluttonous, and it's just a bit much. So when it's actual like disgusting behavior coupled with the outcome, then it gets a little bit much for me. But I'm not looking at like the average fat person that walks down the street and being like, oh my gosh, that is so disgusting. It's more the coupling of, you know, the action of just being gluttonous and eating all this food in front of you paired with it. But yeah, I'm not just looking at fat people and going like, oh, that's so disgusting. Because it's, you know, it's understandable. I get it, you know.
And the phrasing of the quest or the prompt in saying like I have felt disgusted, I think it's describing that for me almost as like this visceral feeling that just kind of emerges without necessarily any judgment there. And I've certainly felt that. In a recent example, I was on social media and there was this video of this guy who like, you know, is 500 some odd pounds and it's like sits home naked on his bed all day playing Halo, and was just telling a little bit of his life story. And like, yeah, I felt some empathy for him as they talked about his story and how he feels and stuff, but just viscerally, like, yes, there's a feeling of disgust there, and I could admit to that. And I think most people do. Looks like we've got about 80% of you saying you agree with this prompt so far.
Interesting. Okay, so let's keep watching and see what we get. Okay. A little bit from both sides. Okay, fair enough.
Whoever feels compelled to start us off.
Well, it's unacceptable to be fat.
Okay. That's a great start. I mean, I know why you say that, but it's one of those things where, do you know why you're saying that?
Yes, because I've been fat before and I lost the weight.
Well, me too. I've been fat my whole life. I've been way skinnier than I am now, and I've been way heavier than I am now. Was I less valuable at one point in there?
Well, I mean, you can make an argument that you're less valuable when you're fatter because you drain resources, but that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I mean, in general, being fat is unacceptable because you control every single morsel of food that goes into your mouth.
Okay.
It shows a lack of discipline, it shows a lack of character, it shows a lack of temperance, and when you're fat, it's an outward manifestation of your inadequacies.
When I see somebody who's 500 or 600 pounds, all I can think of is, why do they care so little about their health that they can do this, allow themselves to gain that much weight, knowing it's taken 20, 30, 40 years off their life? I just can't imagine not wanting to live that badly.
I understand that. No, it's I've definitely felt disgusted looking at my own body and looking at other fat bodies in my life. A lot of the disgust I felt looking at people was me feeling disgusted with myself and then projecting that feeling onto other people. And I don't think anyone on either side will disagree that health is important. I know that my own mental health was way worse when I was spending every fixate of my life trying to get smaller and trying to be thinner.
I don't think there's anyone that can look at somebody 500, 600, 700 pounds and not think, wow, what have they done? And not be disgusted. Like, how can you not? I just can't understand.
You can't
nobody
assume that
thinking
everyone
that.
has the same opinion, though, because unfortunately, some people have emotional stuff that happened, traumatic stuff that's happened, so you can't discount and just say, oh, because they're fat.
Okay, pause. There's a lot to unpack here. Yeah, I think it's interesting. One thing Myron said that's really interesting is that being larger, obese, fat, whatever you want to call it, is an outward manifestation of maybe other inadequacies that you have in your life and things that you're indulging in. And it is, I think, one of the few very visible outward manifestations of that, which is, it kind of sucks for fat people that it's something that everybody gets to see as you're walking around all the time. And other people do have the privilege within their different addictions and inadequacies to have those things be hidden. If you're addicted to cocaine or heroin, you can pull the sleeves down on your shirt and you can, walk around and be relatively normal. If you're addicted to alcohol, people are viewing you quite normally, so long as you're not on the very severe end where it does start to really manifest physically. There are a ton of different addictions and inadequacies that people do get the privilege of hiding, and when you're a bigger person who maybe quells your inner unrest with food or has food addiction, you don't get the privilege of being able to hide that with people. Now, does it make me feel disgusted? Not necessarily. I don't like that one of the guys said, I simply don't understand why somebody would do that to their body. Just because that's not a choice that you would make doesn't mean it's one that you can't understand. I mean, people eat out of depression, they eat out of addiction and dopamine hits and things like that. They eat because they're completely unmotivated to do anything else, or they don't want to exercise, or they feel as though they've already passed the point of return when it comes to their bodies. Now, are these acceptable choices to make, or choices that, we should celebrate when people make? Not necessarily, but I can totally understand why somebody reaches the point of being obese and maybe continues down that path or doesn't do anything to work it back. Now, is that the right choice? We'll get into that. Is it the healthy choice? Obviously not. There's no denying that. I'll be interested to see if anybody on the fat side tries to make an argument for obesity being healthy. So far, not so much.
Oh, man, there's way worse stuff going out in the world versus people saying, oh my God, I'm sad, I'm gonna eat some ice cream. It's like, no, dude, it's like, you're fat, you made that decision, you live in the best country ever. If you live in a civilized first world country where you have electricity, internet power, etc., you deserve to be bullied. It's ridiculous to me that we have all these fat people running around. Meanwhile, people are being bombed in Gaza. It's ridiculous. We are so privileged here in the United States and in the West in general. When I see a fat person, I'm like, wow. You got the gift of life. You got the gift of being in a developed country, and you're a fat POS talking about body positivity on TikTok? What the hell is going on here?
But now you're segmenting, though, because not everyone thinks like that.
No, we need to bring shaming back.
Okay.
We need to bring shaming back in so many other regards besides obesity. We need to do it with sluts. We need to shame fat people. We need to shame everybody when they fuck up. Because
so there are many points, and this is where I find myself with a lot of people on the internet who sort of say these incendiary things. There are many points in which we could find agreement, but the way it's communicated is not the best, in my opinion. And it does beg the question, I wonder what shameful activity Myron does in his personal time or in his personal life that doesn't manifest physically. And because oftentimes when somebody is this confident in their bullying of another person or their shaming of another person, they feel a lot of internal shame shame about something. Maybe it's shame about his past of having been fat. Maybe it's shame about other activities that he's engaging in that he doesn't feel the need to, call out right now and say needs to be shamed. But I imagine there is something. I think we all do things that we feel ashamed of, and he's acting as though he is sort of safeguarded from that reality. And I just bet he's not.
Because shame has been one of the strongest defenses against degeneracy and human fuck-ups.
You had a personal experience you wanted to share. You said you used to be overweight. Now you're not.
Oh yeah, so I did an experiment back in 2015 where I bulked for almost 2 years, and I got up to 250 pounds, and then I dieted down. It took me about 7 months. I systematically did it, controlled my calories, tracked my macros, tracked my protein, carbs, fats, and systematically lost 1 to 2 pounds per week.
So you chose to gain up to 250.
Yeah,
you were
so
naturally
I've been in all
beforehand.
spectrums. I'm naturally skinny.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna get fat as an experiment.
Yeah.
Did it, and then I was like, all right, now I'm gonna lose the weight. And then all I did was just track my calories, I ate the same food every single day.
Yeah.
Went to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, and everything was controlled, and it got done. Was it monotonous? Of course. Was it boring? Of course.
I agree with you there. I am naturally this way. This is with working out 4 or 5 times a week.
That's not true.
This is 100% true, bro.
Nah, bro.
No,
Come to the gym with
it's
me.
not.
This is me
It's not
working out.
natural at all, because at the end of the day, if you don't lose weight, by definition, you're not in a calorie deficit. If you're not in a calorie deficit, then you're gonna either maintain or gain weight, and that's the problem. Is that people don't track their calories.
And that's true, but people burn at their resting metabolic rate a different set of calories.
Doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, that's true. So people do burn at different rates, but he's using the gym as the basis for his argument, saying I go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, and this is just where my body stays at. This is homeostasis for my body. It'd be more so about your diet than it is about going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. You can go into the gym and do a full, drenched in sweat workout every single day. But if you're taking in more calories than what you've burned that day, it's not going to impact the weight of your body. Now, if he started taking in calories to account, which maybe he is, but he didn't claim to be in a deficit with what he was eating, then, then things are going to start, if he was eating nothing but celery and grapes and going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, he's going to lose weight. That's just what's going to happen. So the diet, I think, is far more important than the exercise. And a lot of people will use exercise and say, well, I've exercised a lot and I'm still not losing weight. Well, it's yeah, you have to couple the two things. You have to couple the two things together. Sorry.
That post-workout McDonald's visit is not helping things.
Right. When I go to work out, and sometimes I'll eat In-N-Out, and then I'll go to work out, and I'll be like, okay, well, I know I've really knocked myself for the day, because calories in, calories out, it doesn't really work out when you're eating bad food in tandem with exercising. Okay.
Does not get too granular right now. Ragini, it's going to be one of those episodes, right? Let's bring in the disagreeers and hear from them.
Okay, so the reason I disagreed, especially when I heard the statement, I don't think I'll ever look at somebody based on their situation and think that I'm disgusted. If I see somebody that's a drug addict on the street that's homeless, I'm not disgusted by that. If I see somebody that's incredibly overweight, I'm not disgusted by that. Do I think that there's an opportunity for growth? Do I think they've been put in a disadvantageous position that's probably makes it harder for them? Absolutely. I think I'm kind of an empath, so when I see somebody, I know that there's things underlying, and one of my best friends is 400 plus pounds. I've helped him lose 150, 200 pounds. He's gained it back. And I don't look at him and say, I'm disgusted, but I know how bad he wants it. And just seeing how hard he tries and then reverts, it's almost more tough for me than to be like, oh, that's disgusting, And I think there's plenty of people that look at me and say, that's disgusting. I never want to look like that. So I know what it feels like on the other side to look the way I do and get people look at me like, ugh, that's gross to have that muscle. And then to go back to that point, you came from a fit place and deciding to bulk, that's a conscientious decision to gain weight. You already have those habit routines and skills in order to stay in shape. And then you use those same skills you had to pull back on the calories and knowledge you had.
The reason why I use that example is that you can get fat and lose the weight if you know what you're doing and you have the knowledge and everything else like that. It's just about consistency over time. So it's I look at it
let me cut you off, because here's one thing that you just said.
Yeah.
You had the tools. So there's people that don't have the tools that you've passed judgment on, and you have failed to realize that with the tools, people are very much capable of achieving amazing things. But
okay, let's talk about said
no,
tools.
hold on, I'm not done.
Why you cut me off
I'm
before,
not done.
remember?
And I stood over there and I listened to you, and I was
You did cut him off, to be fair.
like, it's a a ton of bullshit too.
Sure.
But we're gonna address this, right?
Yeah.
You are passing judgment on people who lack the tools to do what it is that they need to do to get themselves to a certain point of health. There are multitudes of factors that weighs into what goes on with somebody's body. There are people that even if they work out, losing the weight does not come as simple as just going to the gym, cutting calories, watching everything that you eat.
Again, we're using workout when it's really more about the second part that you just said, which is cutting the calories that you are eating. And I don't like this argument that like people don't have the tools. It's such a crutch. It's such a infantilizing thing to say to a group of people that you don't have the capability or the awareness to change your body and to know that there's a result at the end of the tunnel when you consistently apply yourself to this change. Most people have the tools to do exactly that because it's about one, eating properly and eating in a calorie deficit and working out. And you don't need that many tools to work out. And I have a feeling people are going to use the excuse of like, what if you don't have a gym membership? What if you don't have that? Get up, walk, move your feet, dance, sway around. All of that is movement that is burning calories on the other end. So don't give people a crush and say that they don't have the tools to make a change in their life when we know that you do. And he's probably going to bring up medical diseases and things like that. And there's room and space for that discussion. But even so, there are things that you can do to optimize your health in that situation. We shouldn't give crutches to people when we know that they're capable of doing more. Like, we need to push people a little bit. And that doesn't mean bullying and shaming. That means like motivation. That means telling people that they can do something when everybody else is saying that they can't or expecting that they can't.
There are some people that have a disposition. I have a disposition. But does that mean that I'm not active? Does that mean that I'm not doing certain things? No, it doesn't. But you're passing judgment on somebody's body that you know nothing about. Now, on the flip side, what if I turned around and I did the same thing to you? You're talking about how fit and stuff that you are, but you're over there and you're smallest compared to these other guys. So how does that feel if someone comes? No, because you said shame, right?
That's a little.
You said shame, right?
Yeah.
So how does that feel if someone comes up and they start shaming you for size? Like, come on, it goes both ways.
We're just in the first prompt. We gotta be careful.
It's a little fair. It's a little fair that he says he wants to bully and shame fat people, and the guy looks back at him and says, "You're smaller than all the other dudes here. Maybe you need to work to be a little bit more jacked." If we're gonna play that card with one another, it is I guess that's Hammurabi's code, eye for an eye.
Careful about targeting each other too directly.
I'm not offended. It's fine. He's emotional.
It goes in every direction.
He's obviously very triggered. So let's talk about, let's hit the first part, tools. What are the tools? The tools are simply knowledge, which you can get for free on the internet. If you have the ability and the discipline to go out there and get the knowledge, then you're going to lose weight. It's just that simple. It's just that people want to always make excuses for why, oh, my feelings, oh, I don't know what, you don't know what people are going through, blah, blah, blah. No, you can watch your calories, you can go to the gym, you have time to do it. People just like to make excuses.
I don't think anyone's debating that weight loss is impossible here. I think the question is, why do you hate fat people, that you feel the disgust towards it?
Well, like I said before, it's a culmination of a bunch of bad decisions. I'm not going to go ahead and give the same level of respect to someone who's a fat ass to someone that has worked really hard and diligently on their physique, because your body's outward manifestations
There's more
of decisions,
factors to a human being than their body.
Well, you could judge a lot just off of someone's physique. You'd be like, okay, well, this guy is lazy. And that's personified through their physique. It's the truth.
Abe, I saw you wanted to say something.
Just to take it back to the prompt, I think we just kind of went all over the place there.
Yeah. We're still focusing on the word disgust.
Just the word disgust. I mean, I would never look at someone and show disgust towards them. I mean, I think I would respect, like you said. I mean, you don't respect everyone, like you said, but I think...
Respect is earned.
I mean, it is earned, but I mean, I think at a humane level, we can learn to appreciate each other's differences.
Yeah, I don't know if like disgust would be the right word, right?
I know.
Greg mentioned some health implications with being overweight or obese.
Yeah.
I think being concerned might be a better.
That's the word I was going to go for.
Word,
like I can show concern for someone for the way that they are, but I would never look at someone and say, like, you're disgusting.
But is it any different than if you see somebody who's extremely anorexic, they're 50 pounds, you look at them and you're in shock? Oh my God, like something happens in your body you can't control. You can't stop that.
There
like
could
how
be a-
can
there
you
could be a
not?
shock
It's not, I
factor,
don't
but
hate them.
that's different
It's just,
from-
wow, oh my God, it's like, it's disgusting. Like, holy goodness
But
gracious.
why
That's a
would
shock
you
factor,
use
though.
the
That's
word
not- that's
disgusting,
not
right?
disgusting.
So you just mentioned the polar opposite of what we are, right? But why would you look at them and be disgusted versus concerned? That is a very specific word, and it has very specific connotations behind it. And when it's used, it's somewhat weaponized as well.
I don't think we can help how we feel. I don't think I can choose like, oh, I just am not. It would be sitting here and lying. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'm always going to be honest with people. I'm disgusted. This is just how I feel.
The thing is, when you see a fat person, the reason why it's disgusting and the reason why there's so much pushback on this whole body positivity and people make fun of Lizzo, rightfully so, by the way, is because it's unattractive, it's unhealthy. Until we had this woke era, they used to put like models and attractive people on the cover of magazines that were in shape. Why? So that people can aspire to look like that. And it's healthy and it looks better in general. You look good, feel good. But when you're fat, it says a lot about you. People aren't gonna sit there and be like, let me see if he's a good person. No, they're just gonna assume that you're lazy, which you are, by the way, when you're fat, and you don't have discipline, which you are, by the way. So.
He just can't help but be like as abrasive as possible, but I get it. It's like his brand, it's his thing. I just wonder if there's a consistency in that. It seems like with the guy Greg, he's very consistent in his feelings towards different ailments that people have and choices that they make in life that bring down their health. I wonder if Myron is as consistent with that, and hopefully we'll get through with questions and hear more. What we don't need is just don't make excuses. The excuses is the part of this, like, come on, we can get through this. Let's be honest with one another and move on.
They're just gonna assume off of what they see. That's the world that we live in.
I love how you stated a shit ton of assumptions. You didn't state not one fact. You just stated assumptions.
I want to move on to the next prompt, but we're definitely...
Can I say one thing? Just one question.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you knew he used to be 600 pounds, and how much you weigh now?
I'm 384.
And now he's 384. Do you see him as less disgusting knowing he's lost 220 pounds?
No, that's fantastic.
I think yes.
There's still work to be done, but here's the thing, like I said before, unfortunately human beings judge a book by its cover. It's just the world that we live in. Fat people that, identify as 97 genders, whatever, they expect us to change our worldview for them, and that's just not how the world works. Like, it's been that way, it's always gonna be that way.
Worldview. That's
All right,
I think what I don't get.
It's just the world that we're in, like, people are gonna,
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, my bad.
Now let's reset. Jacked men are more attractive than fat men. Will the agreeers please step forward?
Yep, I will agree with that. It's all about, it's really evolutionary. You want somebody who's going to have good genes to pass on to your kids. An athletic man who takes care of himself is not only just like a physically attractive thing, but it's a sign that he's disciplined, that he has good genetics, and then you can pass that down. And when you decide to have kids and things like that, it shows a lot about character, because it's an interesting thing. And I heard somebody say this to me, and I was like, that changed my perspective on fitness and gave me so much drive, is that like a fit, jacked body, whatever you want to call it, is something that is truly attainable for almost everybody on this earth. Yet so few people choose to take on the discipline and the regimen that it takes to get there. So if you as a person can do something that really everybody's capable of, but is not really doing at this moment, you've really empowered yourself and you've taken your journey and your lifestyle and your life into your own hands. And that's a super cool thing to do. And it's not easy, but it is attractive because you can look at that person and without even speaking to them, know that there's a certain amount of work and discipline that went into the way that they look as they're standing in front of you. And I think that is an attractive asset to have as a man or as a woman. Now, there are places that you can take too far. The guy in the orange, he seems like a really nice guy, a little too jacked for me, looks a little bit like steroid induced, and that immediately becomes unattractive. And I think there's a spectrum on both ends where things suddenly fall off the cliff of becoming unattractive. I know a lot of guys really like Sam Sulek, and they follow him and they're like, oh, he's yoked, like look at his workout, he's so huge or whatever. But he's taken so many steroids, so much medication to get there. He's in his 20s, he can barely breathe. You can tell just by looking at him that like this is a cardiovascular nightmare. And even though he might like fit the male gaze of being this super like bulky, huge guy, it's unattractive. So I think there's like a happy medium in the realm of fitness that shows that you have like a discipline and like a natural attitude and lifestyle.
How come there's 4 guys over there? All right, so we're living in a bizarro world where people don't see the truth. Like, how is it possible that they're thinking, no, being obese and unhealthy is more attractive than being fit and healthy? How is this possible?
You want actually, you know what? This is precisely why a majority of women find a majority of men as unattractive. Because a lot of guys think this way, oh, I just be a nice guy and girls are gonna like me. No, they're not. She's not gonna suck your dick with the same veracity when you're a fat f as when you're in shape. She's just not. Okay. See, people don't understand that women are aroused by one thing and they're attracted by another thing. Women are attracted to, you know, a guy that's confident, ambitious, makes money, etc. Of course, right? But they're aroused by guys that have asshole tendencies, dark triad traits, etc., and guys that are physically in shape. So if you want to get the best of your woman, where she respects and admires you, while simultaneously being aroused by you so she doesn't cheat on you, you need to have it all.
You're saying that's true for all women?
A majority, a staggering majority of women.
There might be 1% of the world that there's something wrong with them that might think that, yeah, you're 600 pounds, it's so hot, I love that, but. Yeah.
The hot girls that you actually want, they exercise their hypergamy to the highest degree, and they want guys that are fit and have their money together, have their life together.
You're looking at me like you want to say something.
I think people who are into like the super big bodies, both men and women, I think it's more of a fetish than an actual like natural attraction, and that's just developed in like our hypersexual weird culture that we live in right now. The reality is you want somebody who's going to be fit within your relationship, fit for you and fit for your family. Like as a father or a mother, what do you want to display for your future children when it comes to health and activity and, you know, showing a healthy body to them? You want somebody who's fit. Now, I saw somebody comment like, fit is better than jacked. Like, and everybody has their personal preferences on what they want their significant other's body to look like. But I want somebody that like, if we go somewhere and we have to take 20 flights of stairs to get, I don't know, to a restaurant or to our hotel room or whatever, that's not going to be a problem for you. Like, we're not going to be out of breath getting to a place where we need to get to, because you're going to meet a lot of challenges in life, some of them emotional, some of them physical challenges. And you want somebody who's capable of taking on physical challenges, especially for men, because it's a masculine tendency. We know men are stronger than us. We know that they can achieve more in an athletic sense. And to be with somebody who can achieve those things is generally inherently unattractive.
Yeah, because the question was, are jacked men more attractive? We all walked over. Are we more attracted to jacked men?
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming they framed that because we're all guys here they mean women.
Well, men can be attracted to men.
If I had to switch teams, I'm going with the jack guy.
Obviously, this is going to be like personal biases, but I think attraction is very fluid in the sense that I can 100% admit, like, there was probably 40 pounds of muscle ago is when most women would be like attracted to me. Of course, like fitness girls, they're totally okay with the size I am, but like probably most girls I'm like too much for. So I guess like where do we draw that line of like, I think for example like you would be much more attractive to most women than me. Would you agree with that?
I mean, that doesn't mean that like if you walked up to a girl and let's say you're not her, like you're a little bit more muscular than she would, like if you have the charm and charisma, she gonna still go with you, man. It don't matter.
I have an interesting point. Yeah. And
I think it's when your body gets out of the realm of natural is when you fall off the cliff of being attractive. Less so for him because he's unnatural in the sense that he's super like huge, healthy, arguably, depending on how he got there, because he does not look natty to me at all. But at a certain point, there's a window of natural attractiveness, and you can like naturally get super jacked and be all the way at the top of that window, or you can naturally have like a little dad bod and be at the bottom of that window. Once you go to like super obese, then you fall out of the window. Once you go to like, I'm taking HGH and Anavar and all these different things, and I'm out of the window on that end, then it's like, and it's I think it's our body's natural response to knowing when something is unhealthy. These are not things that we want to pass down. These are not traits that we want to take on. You don't want your husband dying of cardiovascular disease, A, because he's obese, or B, because he's shooting up with testosterone or whatever. Neither of those things are attractive, and both bring about the same result.
No shade on you, but I think if you had Zach, right, you're on the end?
Yep.
If you put Zach and Greg and you put them next to each other and you did a poll, I think that most women would probably pick him if you had to, like, because he's got the height and all that. What would you guys say to that?
No.
No? Well, we can put it to the test.
But that's not really fair. I'm 48 years old. He's a lot younger than me. He's about a foot taller than me, but you can't compare. I'm an old man. I'm 48 years old.
Obviously, height is a big component. So that you know, so it's not you're comparing apples to oranges. But if you take the same guy, same height, etc., but one guy is fat, one guy's in good shape, she's always going to go with the guy that's in better shape.
Because I've been so surprised to see on Instagram, there'll be like guys doing like an outfit try on, like not in shape in the slightest bit. And all the comments are women like, I wish like men knew this is how we wish they looked. And like, oh, this is like the dream.
Liars, media.
Liars for
to look good.
One thing
for
about,
clout.
you can never believe what women say, man. You believe how they behave, not what they say.
That's a different episode.
There's so much there psychologically, actually, and there's truth to both sides there. Let's start with Myron saying that women are actually attracted to this in practice, and they sort of showboat on social media saying that they're attracted to a body that they're not. Most definitely women do this, especially with other women that they find unattractive. They will be like, oh my gosh, yes, queen, so slay, you're so gorgeous, or whatever. And psychologically, they do that because they're not at all threatened by that woman. So they will gas up the woman or man that they are not at all threatened by because it makes them feel good. And they also know that that person is not going to achieve a level of status or attractiveness that ever, poses a threat to them. So they will gas you up all day. Now, they do that to like virtue signal and show, oh, look, I'm an attractive woman who's attracted to something that's not normal. However, there are women who really love like a dad bod, or they love the Timothy Chalamets of the world. He's a pretty like slim looking guy, and it's because men get confused between the male gaze and the female gaze. The guy in the orange right there who you see, the super jacked one who looks like he's on steroids, that's male gaze. That's male behavior. He is probably reaching a point of like bodybuilding and, muscle growth that is way more attractive to men, where men go, whoa, dude, I can't believe you did that. That's so cool. Like, what are you taking? Blah, blah, blah. And women go, oh, he's too big for me. I don't want that. Because a lot of men are more oriented to what men find attractive than they are to what women find attractive. So they'll get super huge and start shooting steroids and all these different things. And then the women are looking for Timothy Chalamet or Tom Holland. And those are the people that they want to date. So again, it's about finding that like natural balance between what you find attractive, what they find attractive. And there are women out there who really like a dad bod. And that's not to say like a super unhealthy obese body, but it's just to say like a little pudge or whatever on a man is not going to be like the factor that cuts you off from being able to find women who are attracted to you, because that's more oriented towards, the female gaze than it is toward the male gaze.
I just thought it'd be interesting here to ask you guys, do you consider yourself to be in the window of naturally attractive that Am was talking about with your level of fitness? And for those watching, it looks like we have 63% who would say yes and 37% who'd say no. So that's interesting. I wonder how many of the no's are just way too jacked to answer that question and say that
exactly.
I'm just way beyond natural with my level of jackedness.
Yeah. How many of you guys have trend cough right now?
All right, bring it on in.
Yeah. I disagreed mostly just with the blanket statement because attraction is so subjective. I am a big and tall model by trade. That's what I do. I model clothing brands. I've modeled with major fashion houses. I've been on the covers of magazines. You mentioned before dad bod comments and whatnot on social media. I was flabbergasted when I started how many people were commenting and DMing me and talking about how attractive I was, that it just kind of, showed me that attraction is a lot more subjective than I thought, and people have a much wider range of what they find attractive than specifically a body type.
Is being jacked.
Some women really love a dad bod. I'm gonna tell you, I don't know exactly what the psychology is behind that. Maybe it's just because, you know, like you look like you're eating well, you're comfortable or whatever, and women want that. I'm also gonna say, on the more nefarious end of things, like a more subconscious level, a lot of women want a medium attractive man. Or sometimes you'll even say, women say, I like my men medium ugly. You're going to find this now that I've told it to you. You're going to see it all over the internet. I like my men medium ugly. Why is that? Because they want a man who is attractive, right? In a very medium typical sense, because nobody's going to come and try to steal that man from her. So she can be more attractive than he is, date him. He feels lucky to be with her. And then not a lot of other women really want him because he's medium ugly. So she gets enough attraction to get by. She gets a good man who is locked down and secure. And maybe he has a dad bod. That's okay. But she feels secure within a relationship because, again, it's about eliminating threat factors when it comes to choosing a long-term partner. So that is part of it as well. So, you know, a lot of women like their men medium ugly. What can I say?
Shout out to all the medium ugly kings in the chat.
It's true. It's true.
The most important trait for being attractive. I'd argue for guys, it'd probably be otherwise, right? I think height would be a very
money, height, fame. Like what can you bring to the table?
The number one thing is status. By far, status.
People also go after what they think they can get. So if this guy is 6'5" and extremely attractive, and it's like, well, I can't get that guy. I'm attracted to the 10 on 10 supermodel, but I'm not going to get her, so I'll be happy with the 9.9 on 10.
Just to be clear, are we speaking about women being attracted to men?
It's not just about women. It's just about attraction. What is the most attractive, in your opinion, physique for a man?
Okay, I'm speaking from like what women find attractive. So when I speak, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I'm sexually fluid. So my law of attraction does not adhere to anyone's standards, pretty much. I'm attracted to people in general. So you could be jacked, you could be more plus size, you could be skinny, you could be whatever it is that you are. If I'm attracted to you, I'm attracted to you.
What are the traits you find most attractive?
I think the way that you carry yourself is a really big thing for me. I can't date someone who lacks confidence, because I feel like that seeps into other aspects of your life.
Do you mind if I jump in on the confidence thing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So growing up, wasn't too confident in myself, and I gained that confidence when I started losing weight. And I noticed it was me putting myself in positions to get more opportunities with women. Right now, I'm single right now, but I'm doing okay. But the confidence came from me losing weight. So I do agree that it's a subjective kind of standpoint, but socially, I understand that physically fit men, that's just like what everyone's liking. It's like
I don't think it's as subjective as guys are trying to say. Attraction isn't a choice, and there are hardwired traits that women look for in men. And what I've come to realize is that what women put out there is what they find attractive or politically correct things. Oh, he has a dad bod, he's nice, he's a good guy. The reality is that women don't respond well and favorably to these men. There's a reason why nice guys finish last is a thing. It's because when you're too nice and you kind of bend to her will, etc., girls aren't aroused by that. Girls don't want to say what they're really aroused by. Guys that are able to stand up to them, guys that are able to tell them, well, that was a stupid comment, or hold them accountable for their stupidity when they do dumb things. This is what women find attractive because these are leadership traits.
Have any of those things happened?
He could articulate this much better, but that's fine. I digress. At the end of the day, I know he says it's subjective. It's really, really not. It's like, if you think about it from an evolutionary standpoint, let's say, y'all, we're nomads, you know, camping out in the middle of a field somewhere in Africa, you know, out there in the, wherever, out there in Africa, and a lion comes up and wants to kill us. You know, who's going to be in the most physically fit, you know, body to be able to deal with a situation like this? When you're out, you know, boar hunting because the village needs meat, who's going to be able to chase after the boar and kill the boar? Is it going to be somebody who is overweight, or is it going to be somebody who exists in a fit body? And it's going to be that. And that evolutionary aspect has carried on and will carry on as something that, as Myron says, we are hardwired to look for in our mates. Now, because we're in like a cushy modern day society where a lot of those survival instincts we are no longer tapped into, now you have like a skewed skewed perspective on what is attractive, and people are going for different things. But the reality of the situation is, through all of human history, had you been in this sort of body type, there's a great likelihood that you were not even going to survive. You were not even going to make it through to be able to procreate at the end of the day. And now, because we have Netflix and DoorDash, and we all live in apartment complexes on top of one another, and our cities are made of concrete instead of, fields and trees, we're growing outwards, and we're not worried about like the survival of our species as much as we would be forced to be in a different time had we lived in that time. So there we go. But those little evolutionary instincts that we have are still dialed in to some extent.
Happened to you though?
Well, I mean, I've talked to almost 3,000 women, and what I've come to realize from talking to all of them is that most of the time, when they're in a comment section of TikTok, like, you're so handsome, blah, 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 will they actually go on a date and have sex with that guy? Probably not. But they say that because it's politically correct, and women tend to not want to be adversarial. They're going to say what sounds good, but what they're actually aroused by are two different things.
But they're married to those guys.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was
Most
getting to.
often they're married to...
And marriage is a failed institution in the West, and this is why most men get divorced by women. This is why they get destroyed in the divorce courts. This is why women overwhelmingly initiate the divorce rates in America. 80% are initiated by women, because we sit here and we lie and we believe what women say they're actually attracted to. No, they're not attracted to.
Let's go back to attraction for a second, though, because I'm married.
Sure.
I have a child.
Cool.
I have a beautiful wife. Mm-hmm. I was this size the entire process through it.
Would you say that you're an average guy?
I would say that
You're
I'm
how
bigger
tall?
than average.
6'5",
you're not an average guy.
and a model
You're not an average
for
guy.
being slightly
I
overweight.
wasn't a model when I started
But
dating
you are
my
a very
wife.
good-looking, tall,
I was a
big
bartender
guy who's
doing
on
whatever.
magazine covers. So
But I
out
know,
of
I
the
think-
million guys overweight, you're at the
you're not
top.
an average guy.
But I think what you're missing is he just said that he wasn't any of those things.
He's not 5'6",
before
man, like
he
me.
met his
Try
wife.
being 5'6" and doing it.
No, I totally agree with you. Well, that's what I was gonna actually agree with Myron for a second. Believe it or not, we're talking about. You mentioned status, and then a lot of people other mentioned confidence. So you even put it in your own pecking order ahead of being jacked or being physically attractive. Sure. Wouldn't you say that matters more? Confidence, how you carry yourself, how you do it.
It's going to be different for literally everybody as far as what they have on their priority list when it comes to looking for people they're attracted to. So it's kind of like a moot point.
I mean, the prompt was simply, is it either you're jacked or
and
are you fat?
I'm not
What's
going to
more
argue
attractive?
the fact that our society definitely finds jack guys more attractive. But I disagreed with the statement because it was a blanket statement that I have found untrue in my own life.
Do all of you feel like you'd be more or less attractive, let's say 50 pounds lighter than you are? And
I know y'all seen that movie, He's Just Not That Into You. There are rules, and they're the exception to the rule. More often than not, you're going to be part of the rule, not the exception to the rule. Now, he may be the exception to the rule where he is, plus size, but he's also a model, and he's got a wife and a healthy relationship and all these different things. But there's the rule, and there's the exception to the rule. Now, he just admitted that society finds jack men more attractive, so really he should have come forward and agreed.
simply like just body fat?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that I struggled with for a while is, in me losing weight, am I still going to be able to book the jobs that I book? Because I've built an entire brand off of my body. I mean, granted, like, cool as shit, like, I did something that's all my own, like, I worked on that. But then I was also just like, if I lose this, are you still gonna want me to, like, do this campaign for you? Are you still gonna want me in your magazine? Are you still gonna wanna dress me? And then I had to, like, take a step back and say, like, well, what is it for me? Do I want to be skinny? No. Do I wanna look like Greg? No. Do I wanna look like Myron? No. But I know I wanna look like me. I think talking about the law of attraction, you focus so heavy about what women would find attractive and the perspective of the woman. And I feel like, are you even attracted to yourself? When you look in that mirror, when you put your clothes on, are you like, damn, like, I did that? Because when I got up this morning and I threw on my outfit, I was just like, yeah, I ate that.
Okay. One point I will make is that we're getting so bogged down in the idea of who's attracted to what's attractive, female gaze, male gaze, all these different things. We're not talking about what's healthy. Now, he's discussing whether or not he's going to have ad campaigns if he loses weight, if he starts caring about his health more, and he sheds the pounds that have made him attractive as a plus size model for all these different campaigns. What he's not asking himself is, when I'm 50, 60 years old, am I still going to be around to even work? This is the question. You know, it's one thing to like find yourself attractive in a bigger body or not find yourself attractive, or put on an outfit and be like, I ate that or whatever. It's another thing to not make it to 60 years old because you've died of a heart attack. And I think that's being lost in this conversation about what's attractive and what's not.
Well, if you're going to talk about being attractive, et cetera, typically people are speaking from a romantic sense, from a heterosexual standpoint of men and women. So that's why I answered the question, because it was very broad. That's what I mean. But of course, you need to be able to look at the mirror and respect the man that you see looking back at you. When you look back and you see the guy and you're in shape, et cetera, and you feel good about yourself, look good, feel good. A byproduct of that is that women just tend to find you more attractive. It all works together in tandem.
Are you happy with the way you look?
Of course,
of course. But I had to work to build this physique, and it took many years. I was an athlete in college, was a Division I athlete. It took many years to be able to do this. So
What'd you play?
I rode in college, crew.
Oh, sweet.
Rowing.
Yeah, I like rowing.
So I think when fat people look at the mirror and they say, oh, I like that, that's coat, man. No, you don't. They say that to try to bring themselves up, but the reality is most of the time when you're fat, you look in the mirror, you're like, damn, I really let myself go.
Not every
You're
fat
like, you know what?
person-
It's not that much of a priority, so fuck it.
Abe didn't get to answer the question going around.
Yeah, I was in the same boat as you, just because I feel like I don't agree with the blanket statement. Personally, for myself as a gay man, I find myself attractive. I would say like I go for guys like you as well, and I feel like I get a lot of hits on those types of guys, and I'm pretty content with how I navigate my attraction, and I think it goes a lot to the status and their confidence. So, like we said, so.
All right, let's go to the next prompt. After 4 years, will he agree or step forward?
Oh, sorry, what's the prompt?
Body positivity movement is problematic. Will he?
It is problematic. Okay. It's not problematic to be like, hey, you know, we all have the bodies that we live in, and I hope that you can find like love and confidence in the body that you live in. That's totally fine, cool, awesome. It's totally different to be like, this is healthy. I know I'm 300 pounds, but this is healthy. This is sexy. This is what peak health looks like. Like Cosmopolitan making that magazine cover that said like fat is health. And then we're start getting into issues here. The fact that that plus size guy, who is apparently a plus size model, says, now I feel like if I lose weight, which would objectively put him in a healthier state of being, I feel like I'm going to lose ad campaigns and not be able to work anymore. Concerning, because that means, you know, we're commodifying something that is unhealthy. We know it's unhealthy, objectively so, and actually leading people down a path to where they don't want to lose weight. And we've seen this happen time and time again with different models who start off in the plus size field, get a lot of notoriety, get a lot of publicity for it, and then they start like eating healthy or going on a weight loss journey, and they actually get shamed for going on the weight loss journey. Tess Holliday is a good example of that. I've seen videos where Lizzo is talking about eating healthy, and people are like, you know, don't lose that. Don't try to change your look, girl. You know, you're already beautiful. All these different things. Like, objectively would be better for her if she actually did try to start focusing on diet and fitness, which I'm sure she's doing to some extent, but we shouldn't shame people for going down that path. And oftentimes that is what the body positivity movement does, because if a fat overweight body is perfectly healthy, perfectly beautiful, perfectly wonderful, then anybody who wants to change that wants to change something that is perfectly healthy and beautiful and wonderful. And why would they want to change that? It must be purely out of fat phobia rather than actually making a conscious health decision for them and their bodies.
Agree or step forward?
Well, I think where it becomes a problem is obviously you should be comfortable in your body, and if you genuinely love how you look, great, but you can't ignore your health. Being someone who is overweight, I've been fortunate enough not to have any extreme complications other than knee pain and stuff like that. But I know people that, that are my size or bigger, and they have cholesterol problems, heart problems, diabetes. I have none of that. So the body positivity movement becomes a problem when you hide behind this shield of, oh, I should love my body, da-da-da-da-da. Great, but you have to be healthy too. You can't ignore your vitals. You gotta check yourself on the inside.
Yeah, I think the big thing is you have to separate the health implication with you just being confident, right? Like I'm all for people to feel confident in their own skin. I think body positivity movement has been beneficial for plus size people in that regard, right? Because let's say there's a plus size person who's too embarrassed to go to the gym because they feel like they're gonna be judged, whatever it is. But it's because of body positivity, they're like, oh, hey, like I see other plus size people in the gym, maybe I'm gonna give it a try. And all of a sudden they start going, they're like, oh man, I like this, right? And they keep it going. You can argue that without body positivity, maybe that day would have never happened for that person, right?
That's actually a pretty good argument. I see a lot of girls on TikTok who are plus size or obese, and now they're going to the gym and like filming this and becoming like somewhat kind of like gym influencers, where they go and they show their workout and they tag, hashtag body positivity. And you know what? I'm all for that, especially if it's encouraging people who are in an uncomfortable space about going to the gym to go. I feel uncomfortable going to the gym because it's like, oh, you're just being seen working out in front of people and all this stuff. It's kind of weird. And I can imagine that's even worse for somebody who already feels insecure about their weight and their size. So on that end of body positivity, I also agree that is a good thing. And I'm glad that people are doing that.
But I think the problematic part really comes down to people extrapolating body positivity, shaming a celebrity like, let's say, Adele, for losing weight, right? Mm-hmm. That's where I would kind of draw the line there.
Yeah.
Or promoting Lizzo. Making fun of Adele for losing weight, but promoting Lizzo for being a fat ass. Unacceptable.
Do we feel, are a lot of people doing that?
I think the thing around Lizzo is it's not just the weight, it's the lifestyle. You like see her drinking all the time and partying and not sleeping. There's like so little to do with health. It's not just she's promoting like loving yourself, which I think is great. She's promoting a lifestyle that is unhealthy, like being very overweight, drinking, not sleeping. All of these things are not conducive to your health. So I think you conflate that. And sure, being body positive is important, like loving yourself, loving the way you look. But if that's gonna influence other people to make bad decisions about their body and their health, that's problematic.
Body positivity is disempowering people. It's making them think that they're healthy at any size, which they're not. And so as soon as you start telling people, hey, just love your body, like Lizzo will literally rub her belly and said, you're giving me all this power as she's eating a burger and she's promoting being obese. By doing this, you're just ruining it for people who actually should think, wait a minute, I can lose weight, I can go to the gym, I can eat less, I can do this.
Personally, my problem with body positivity isn't necessarily what it stands for. And I feel like there's a misconception because there are those people that they use it to justify fatness and just, I don't even want to say fatness. I want to make it very clear, unhealthiness. Because there's someone like me who I wouldn't say I'm necessarily part of the body positive community anymore. Personally, I would say I champion body diversity because it's all encompassing. It's inclusive of what everybody, is doing within their journey. When I expressed the desire to lose weight, another plus size individual that I used to be friends with was just like, well, I don't feel like I can share your content because I'm not sure how my followers are going to perceive this. I think it might be triggering for them and stuff like that. And my response to it was, well, if you're championing body positivity, then what I'm doing should not be a problem, because the entire time that I've been advocating for people that look like me or people who have been othered in any capacity in general is that all bodies are good bodies. What we do with our body is what matters. And so body diversity is important to me because for a guy like you or a guy like the two of you might suffer from body dysmorphia. And that's a very real thing. You might not see yourself for what you really are. And so you're seeking unhealthy habits to achieve a goal. To get where you want to go, like you just got to give it time. Be healthy in it, in all aspects, like mentally, physically. You've got to find the right avenue to do what it is that you need to do for yourself.
I just don't like this conflation as if like there's something healthy about what he's doing with his body. I'm going to go out on a strong limb here and argue that he's probably not treating his body in the most healthy way. And maybe neither is the other guy, because he said, I don't have diabetes, I don't have high cholesterol. He said, my knees hurt. that's something that we should be focusing on. If like the load that is being bared on your knees is causing knee pain for you, this is an actual functional problem that is brought about by being overweight. Now, I can't imagine the guy in the green does not have health problems associated with his current physical condition. Now, he may argue that he doesn't, but I mean, it's just hard to believe that that is the case. Now, of course, there are fitness influencers that take it way too far with their health, like I said, and start using steroids, or they work out too much, or they are obsessed with every single calorie that goes in and out of their body, and that can become an unhealthy dynamic. But I'd argue that it's just far less common in that realm than it is with obesity, but both need to deal with that. And I do like his point where he says there's a lot of like very fit, healthy people that deal with body dysmorphia every day. I think body dysmorphia is more common than a lot of people give it credit, but still, it doesn't. I almost feel as though he's using it as a means of pushing off the responsibility and the accountability that he should feel towards his own body.
The body positivity movement is a huge psyop to keep us fatter and stupider. It's all a scam. The reality is that Big Pharma wants money, and they understand that when you're fat, you have more health problems. They understand that you're going to need insulin, you're going to need medication, etc. And they make a bunch of money on us being sick. There is no incentive to actually have you be healthy. So let's go ahead and make our people fat as hell, get them in the hospitals, get them on medication, continue to make money, etc. It's all a big psyop.
So you believe it's all intentional?
Yes. We promote mediocrity.
I feel like it's a subset. Yes, I'm sitting here because I do think that there is a part of it that is problematic. But I think that the problematic part of it is a subset of people that use it as a tool to weaponize whatever it is that they're doing.
I think the whole movement is a problem. The body positivity movement in general is a problem. All of it.
So you shouldn't feel positive even about your own, like for you, for instance,
well,
right?
I think if you haven't earned, here's the thing, being happy and content with yourself, it's not given, it's earned. You have to go out there, work, and then you're gonna feel that satisfaction, like, I earned that feels good.
So at what point do you earn it though?
When you can look back in the mirror and actually, genuinely, not coping, respect the man that you see before you. And the reality is, people are gonna realize that you're gonna need to achieve a certain physique, because you have all these fat people, I love my body. No, you don't. It's a lie, dude. You're just coping, you're lying to yourself. And all these people on Instagram and TikTok with the body positivity movement are lying to themselves. They're not happy where they want to be. They just accept that because they're too lazy to make a change.
No, but I genuinely do love my body.
Right now as you are?
Yeah.
Then why are you going to the gym?
And I'll explain to you.
Then why are you going to the gym?
I will explain it to you. I love everything that my body is capable of doing. I love the fact that at my size, I can do a lot of things that other people smaller than me still cannot do.
But you want to lose weight though.
And yeah, right.
Which is good.
I want to lose weight because I love my body, but I have one body. Why would I not love it?
Yeah.
And because I love my body is why I'm looking to make changes.
It's just semantics at this point.
Yeah,
right?
Make changes.
But to say that loving your body is BS, no, you make changes, you make healthy changes to yourself because you love yourself. All of that time that I'm putting in, the work, the money that I'm spending, that's a labor of love because I love myself enough to know that I want to make some changes to live a better lifestyle in the sense of I can just do a little bit more.
All right, let's bring in our disagreeers.
There's a little bit of copium being smoked there, I think. But yeah, I get what he's trying to say. I think where the bigger guy is going wrong is, not acknowledging that there is a bigger reason why he wants to make a change, and that is to make his body healthier, which I arguably leads to more love and confidence. I think what Myron is getting wrong is that he has this very black and white view towards love and positivity towards your body and confidence in your body, to where it's like almost like a switch turns on. Like, I don't love my body because I'm obese, and I can flip the switch once I hit like a certain weight or a certain look, or I feel a certain amount of respect for myself, and suddenly the love turns on for my body. I imagine somebody who's 300 pounds and starts a fitness journey and is like down 25 pounds. There's got to be a lot of love there when they like look in the mirror and they see that there's a difference. There's love in the process of changing one's body, in the process of acting in a healthy way. There's love in going and doing your first workout and like the endorphins that you feel having accomplished something. So you might feel the most love once you get to that point, that end goal, but there's love all throughout the process. It's not like a black and white view that we have towards ourselves. And there's a ton of larger people that do genuinely have love for their bodies and what they're capable of. Now, they may not exercise that, for lack of a better word, in the best way possible, but there's still love there. That's why it's just a semantics argument at the end of the day.
I'm curious real quick, what do you think about Myron bringing up the whole point about the body positivity movement being a psyop on the part of corporations like Big Pharma that want to keep us unhealthy and keep people on medication, and it's not in their interest or the government's interest and with whom they're in bed with to encourage people to pursue a healthier lifestyle? Like, what do you think about that whole part of the conversation? I'm curious.
Yeah. I don't know that there's like men sitting in a boardroom and going like, yes, the Cosmopolitan said that there's health at any size. This means that we will sell more insulin next week. I don't know that that's what's happening. I think it's a beautiful cocktail of just people doing what is beneficial to them. And what is beneficial to Big Pharma is that you are on medication and that you do get bigger and that you are unhealthy and that you struggle with chronic illness. I don't know that they're intentionally like pumping this narrative into the world, but they're certainly not doing anything to dispel the narrative because it's not within their best interest to do so. So, I mean, you could argue that all these forces are like working in tandem and it's this big conspiracy, or you could see that we've just made the perfect sick society for this to be the case, because you have magazines like Cosmopolitan benefiting from virtue signaling on fatness and body positivity, and that is their benefit being hit, and they strike it. Big Pharma benefits because you're chronically ill and they make a ton of money. They hit it, and that ends up working together, although they may not be communicating with one another. McDonald's, loves that you're gonna get fat, and because you're gonna buy more McDonald's, and that's their benefit. So they're gonna churn out more and more addictive food, and then it just all ends up working sort of synergistically. Now, one argument to be made is that there was that little coupling of like what Krispy Kreme and McDonald's with Pfizer or whatever for you to get your vaccine and then get a free donut or something at the other end of it. Again, you can attribute that to a nefarious intent, and I'll leave y'all open for your theories on that one. Or you could see that this is just two industries that know how powerful they are, know that they're going to make money regardless, and choose to work together to make more money and to extend that power. I'm open to all interpretations on that, but it just does seem like every industry is going to work within their best interest. And right now, the best interest is that you're not healthy, because it's just going to continue and continue. So maybe it's a psyop. Maybe it's just, people doing what's best for them. What do you think? You think it's a big conspiracy?
No, I'm with you. I think that the incentive structures are clearly there. It's not in Big Pharma's interest for there to be a giant campaign to promote people taking hold of their health just by getting sunlight and going outside and exercising. We talked about this a lot during COVID, and with the one solution being taking the jab, and that was like the only thing that we were allowed to talk about and the only thing that was allowed to be promoted on mainstream media. And like, why aren't we talking about actually getting healthy? So there's like some suspicious stuff there. But I think you're right that like as far as the body positivity movement, it does seem to be this strange convergence of like food companies, pharmaceutical companies, etc., having the incentive to profit off of people not pursuing a healthy lifestyle, with this kind of culture of virtue signaling, the culture of like overly maternal kind of acceptance, and only never tell people that they need to that they have any responsibility or are to blame for anything going wrong in their lives, that they need to take responsibility for their own life and their own health. Like, we don't like anything having to do with that in our culture nowadays. And those two forces have found an unhappy marriage. And I think society's the worse for it. But I don't necessarily think that it's a conspiracy, like a smoke-filled room type thing.
Right. I agree. And it's so funny because like people will say getting healthy is so expensive. It's actually the least expensive thing you can do. Yeah. And that's why you're not encouraged to do it. Going outside and getting sunlight is free. Going outside and walking is free. For the most part, you can like get water at virtually any restaurant, any fast food place for free. And then they upcharge you to throw the sugar and the high fructose corn syrup in it with the Coca-Cola drops that you like or whatever. So like your produce, like people argue, oh, like buying healthy food is so much more expensive than buying unhealthy food. Don't believe it. I truly think that if you are smart about the way you buy food, it actually either evens out or it can even be cheaper to eat healthier. So nothing about that makes them money, because then you don't have to, you're not regularly having to go to the doctor and re-up on your medications for your chronic illness and having to head through the McDonald's drive-through and buy your pack of chips and your donuts and all this different stuff. It doesn't make them money for you to do what is the largely free thing and be healthy and take care of your body. It literally cuts off all of their different chains of influence that they have on people. Yet they tell you, oh, being healthy is so much more expensive. People don't have access to being healthy. We all have access to outside. I know that. Now the food thing is a whole different argument, and like there's stuff to be said about that, but it's manageable. So it's so weird that we get told that being healthy is expensive.
Have you seen, there's kind of became a trend to like with inflation to go to the grocery store and post how much your basket of groceries costs. And people are like, oh my gosh, look how expensive this is. But recently there's been a few that went viral of someone who's like posted a picture of their grocery haul. And they're like, this costs $300. And they had like 7 varieties of Doritos and, all their different, sodas and all this type of stuff. And it's like, to your point, you get produce, you get rice and beans. I mean, that's healthy food. And there's almost nothing cheaper than rice and beans. Then you throw some, variety pack or a value pack of chicken in there, and you can get a great, one of the Instagram accounts I follow, it's this girl who like goes to Trader Joe's once a week, puts together a cart of groceries that's like no more than $70, and it's like meals for the whole week for her and her husband. And it's like, it's not that difficult, and yet there's this narrative out there. And I get, like you said, you alluded to, like there's the food deserts and the access issues and things like that. But generally speaking, it's not necessarily prohibitively expensive to eat healthy.
Yep, I concur.
So it's not a single problem.
Oh no, I'm not saying there's not a single problem. To me, body positivity is more about bodily autonomy. Like you were mentioning wanting to lose weight. My whole thing is like, yeah, it's your body, do whatever you want with it. I don't think I, as a human being, have a right to tell any of you what to do with your bodies. Body positivity kind of comes in and goes, okay, you as a human being have inherent value. Just in the fact that you are a conscious soul on this planet, you have an inherent value. You are within a vessel of your body that you do have control over, but at the same time, you're not less valuable to society or from the standpoint of the soul for what your body looks like.
When I'm speaking about body positivity, I'm talking about the over acceptance and encouragement of being obese. So.
Okay. To his argument about being less valuable, obviously you're not less valuable if you become, morbidly obese. From, I guess, the soul perspective, I don't know that I believe in a soul, but we'll just use that argument. Now, arguably, you are less valuable to society. If you are 400 pounds and you can't walk to anywhere, you can't get down a set of stairs, you have to use a wheelchair, whatever, you're on disability because you can't work, you have brought yourself to a point of not being able to contribute to society. Now, people who willingly do that, that's a different category than people who are there because of health conditions, and there's room for that discussion. But like when you watch these videos, like I'm sure you guys have seen like My 600 Pound Life or things like that. There's women and men who are so overweight that even taking a drive to the doctor's office to see a doctor about their weight bears so much stress on the system that they can die in the process of just heading to the doctor. At that point, it does become a burden upon greater society. Now, this is not to say they don't have any value. It's just to say it is better for them and for society to get into a healthier position, in whatever, healthy means you can use to get there.
I personally, again, I'm not super online, have not seen anybody pro-obesity ever.
Lizzo. Oh, there's a bunch, dude.
She loves herself.
Avocado.
No. There's a big
They are
difference.
actively promoting obesity.
She's not telling anyone to get fat.
She's showing you exactly how to do it and saying, look at my body as I love and rub it. It's giving me life. And she's...
I'm pretty sure if we go through Lizzo lyrics, she has lyrics about how like skinny bitches have nothing on us, you know, like fat is in, the big girls are in. I'm pretty sure she only hires big girls to be her dancers and things like that out on tour. She is actively bringing down people who are skinny and are in a healthier body than she is and promoting fatness. I mean, there are other people who you could point to who you say don't promote fatness but just happen to be fat. Lizzo is not one of those people.
Like joking around
and also I want to clarify. See, here's the thing: there's a bunch of fat influencers that push this body positivity situation, and a bunch of them are dead now. No one talks about that. That didn't hit mainstream news.
So I'm in that space.
Yeah.
Which influencers are you talking about? Because
I don't recall their names, but there's a couple of them that passed away. They're YouTubers. They used to do these mukbangs where they eat a bunch of food on camera.
That's totally different.
Okay, but that's
they're not a part of our community. That's a completely different thing. We're not saying we're gonna go to a restaurant and pig out just because it's entertaining or anything like that. There are people that they're called gainers, that their whole lifestyle, their fetish and things like that revolves around gaining weight.
Yeah, and I understand that you're saying that that's not a component to the body positivity movement, but you got to understand for the general masses, they're watching that, they're going to attribute it to that. They're not in the niche, they're not a creator, so they're not looking at it like, no, this person's just a gluttonous person. No, they look at everyone who's obese.
Also, who gets to say who's a part of the body positivity community and who's not? All you have to do is raise your hand and say, I'm a member of the body positivity community. It doesn't matter what you're doing on the other end of it. There's not a cohesive message that is tied to the body positivity community that lets you know whether or not you're a member or you aren't. All you have to do is say that you are, which is why it's problematic.
That's making content about being obese and continuing that lifestyle as a part of the body positivity movement.
But they're not making content about being obese. They're making content about overeating.
Yes, and they
which
also
is also
encourage
an eating disorder.
Yeah, and they also encourage being fat as well.
Do you think just being in a fat body and being in the public space encourages obesity, just flat out?
Yes.
So just us existing, we're saying,
yes.
Yay, everyone go gain weight?
It absolutely impacts other people to think, well, think of it. You're 6'6", good looking, you're modeling.
But
it's going to encourage other people to, well, hey, look at him. He's got lots of...
Depends on what you mean by the public space and how it's being shown. I think it's one thing to be said for like models and pop stars who are actively promoting a lifestyle like this and are coupled with campaigns that say like health at any size and stuff like that. It's another to simply be fat and existing. Those are two separate things.
And what about when I go to the gym? When I step into the gym, or when Zach steps into the gym, or when any of us step into the gym, are we promoting being bigger like that too? Are we going there, and is our presence there unwanted?
By being famous, rich, popular, and being obese, you're indirectly promoting it in the same way that people who take steroids and are 350 pounds of muscle and winning the Mr. Olympia are indirectly promoting it, even if they don't say they're taking it.
But I'm speaking more specifically in the gym, in that space where people should be coming together to work on their bodies and stuff like that. If you saw us in the gym,
I would be happy and proud and excited, and my whole channel is about helping people who are overweight to lose weight and have realistic expectations. I would never say you have to look like this, you need abs. It's just, let's go halfway there. That's my entire channel, of which I have over 2 million followers. It's all about realistic goals of helping people who are overweight to lose weight. That is what my channel is all about.
But we're in public, and you made the statement that if we step out in public, that it would encourage people to live an unhealthy lifestyle.
The more friends you have
obese.
who are overweight, the more likely you're going to be overweight. It just happens to happen. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't. If 90% of the world were overweight, more people would be encouraged to be overweight.
As just on this side, I don't think any of us have ever looked at a person heavier than ourselves and gone, I want to be that. That's a great thing to be. No, we have the same internalized biases as everybody else does. He was bringing up the gym before, and you said by existing just in a fat body, we are promoting it.
Yes.
I model, and when I do model fitness wear, which I do often, I get so many comments about like, oh, you are promoting obesity. I'm wearing fitness wear. I'm in the gym. I'm doing the thing you want me to do. And I'm still promoting obesity?
If you're exercising and you're trying to lose weight, then you're promoting people who are overweight to try to lose weight. That's great. But if you're Lizzo and rubbing your belly...
I'm promoting... I mean, I don't know shit about Lizzo.
Specifically about influencers that promote gluttonous, lethargic, lifestyles, which a bunch of them do. That's what we're talking about. If you're in the gym and you're fat and you're getting after and you're documenting that, that's fantastic.
The prompt was body positivity, and you're talking about influencers who promote gluttonous lifestyles.
Yes.
And that, again, is not body positivity.
So that's why
the general masses.
Who's to say? Again, who's to say? Again, you're either actively promoting it or you're not promoting it. I think that happens with words and actions, and that's the distinction that we need to draw here. If you're a fat person and you're going to the gym or you're modeling fitness wear, awesome, cool. Keep doing what you're doing. Can we move on? Like, this is enough. I don't know.
I think it's helpful to think about this in terms of trajectory. Like if you're an influencer and people do what you're saying, does that put them on a trajectory toward a more healthy lifestyle where they're losing weight, etc., or does it put them on a trajectory of going the opposite way and embracing a lifestyle that lacks fitness or that is unhealthy, or does it keep them stagnant and give them excuses to stay unhealthy? And I think the negative part of the body positivity movement would be either keeping people stagnant or moving them in the bad direction and having them on that trajectory. And it's good to have people moving on the other trajectory. And I think, I don't know, it's just like a helpful distinction for me because I seem to be struggling with that.
100%. We're going to skip to a new prompt here and hear from something else. So I feel like we're just beating a dead horse on that last one.
Abuser to yourself than that person.
Okay, let's see.
Fitness culture can be toxic. Agree or step forward?
Fitness culture can be toxic. 100% fitness culture can be toxic. Let's get this out of the way. There's so many things, like the girls who are editing their photos and giving a totally unrealistic view of what they've achieved through the realm of fitness and leading other people down a path of body dysmorphia and issues with eating and all this different stuff. If we're going to say that fat people promote an unhealthy lifestyle, we have to be equal in doling it out to people who are relatively fit but are also promoting unhealthiness. So like the editing is a huge thing. It irks me to see these like high level fitness influencers and athletes who are still editing their photos, even though they're at an elite like physique as far as what they've been able to achieve. And it sets such unrealistic body standards for young women and men in particular. The men who are roided out of their mind and promoting this like huge bull-like body type to other men, knowing damn well that they could drop dead at like 40 of a heart attack because of what they're putting in their body. Now, you can do all of these things and be open and honest about it. And I think that is a helpful thing to do. If you're going to struggle through something, at least be honest with the fact that you're struggling with it. But it's the people who put that under wraps, and the girls who say, oh, I don't edit my photos, or they say, oh, I'm totally natty or whatever, when you know that you're not, and you're promoting something and making something seem realistic to people when it is obviously not realistic. And of course, then there's like people who enter the fitness realm and even on like the minutia, they do exercises incorrectly and they're promoting it to their audience to do it, or they have an unhealthy dynamic with what they eat every day and they're promoting that to their audience and encouraging them to do things. There are so many things about the fitness realm that can be toxic, but it's just about, if you're going to get into it, finding people who you feel like are reputable, who are doing things right, and who more so than anything are honest about what they're doing in their life, because these dishonest people are everywhere and telling you, oh, I'm natural, or, oh, I eat normal, or, I eat pizza just like everybody else, knowing damn well you had 3 almonds for lunch. Don't be so for real with me right now. And you edited your photos. So I have a lot of qualms with that too. The amount of girls that I see on Instagram, TikTok with a whole ass BBL drizzy is what they're looking like on TikTok. And they're saying, oh, how to naturally grow your glutes. I just do, hip thrusts every other day. No, you don't. No, you don't. So I actively follow like fitness people who actually pull these accounts and tell you the truth about what these influencers are doing. And the more that people lie on the internet, the more you're going to have to like counterbalance it with people who call these things out. So certainly a lot of toxicity within the fitness realm.
Here we all are again.
Hey, let's hear from the jacked guys.
100%. I think you can perpetuate so many themes that are so unhealthy. Like there's so many images online of people that post in like the best lighting with a pump. That is the societal norm of like what's good, and it even like affects me because I'll see people and I'm like, oh, I look like garbage compared to that. I think that right now it's like there's a lot of, you know, misinformation online when it comes to like how to get fit, how to stay in shape, and a lot of people are monetizing it. These like crazy fad diets, like you can't eat certain things, carbs are bad, you know, fruit has sugar in it, so it's gonna make you fat. So like now food is almost being weaponized.
I have to point something out. I kind of feel bad for saying this, but like this is a really big dude. He doesn't look natural to me. You guys can clear that out. I don't know if any of you follow him or like know his background or whatever. He is struggling to breathe as he's talking, sitting in a seated position, having a normal conversation with you. That is the reality of, you know, using this stuff on your body. And if he's not, I don't think he's not, but if he's not, just look up Sam Sulik and like listen to him speak. Listen to him. This guy is in the gym trying to show you what he does for his workout. He can't get through one sentence without heaving. That is how much stress he is putting on his bodily systems. So there's a lot of toxicity within fitness culture. And in the same way that like a lot of bigger people have body dysmorphia, these are severe cases of body dysmorphia. If you're willing to sacrifice the health you will have later down in life, age yourself in this way for the sake of having a bigger physique.
And then to be monetized so that you buy their ebook to tell you the exact secret, you know, code in order to lose weight. So fitness is an industry, right? So people are incentivized to say whatever that is to make money. And so it's been harder for me as a coach that takes a more holistic approach to wellness and fitness and saying, hey, it's all about balance. And like Greg's the same way. I know I felt like, you know, I watch a lot of his videos. That is the correct approach to like making a plan that's not super restrictive. So I think that's why, you know, the fitness industry, even being part of it, like is frustrating because there's so much misinformation.
I would say also that there's so much pressure to look like us, and it's causing people to develop body dysmorphia. And so this is a huge problem. So when you swipe on Instagram, you're being shown the top 1% of the top 1%. They all have a six-pack abdominals. Everyone feels inferior. There's pressure. Then that causes a whole host of problems, eating disorders, people feeling like shit. They don't like the way they look in the mirror. And then they keep looking for information. And then what information they're getting, half of it's wrong, like you were just describing. Mm-hmm. And so where do we go from there? There's no solution.
I think the issue comes from the misinformation and just the lack of keeping things simple. But, you know, we like to have fad diets, go paleo, go vegan, go whatever it may be. And it's like, the reality is the best diet is the one that you can adhere to. And I think we need to let people understand that fitness is a lot more sustainable and easier than people think it is, which is why I make fun of fat people so much, because it really is simple and it comes down to numbers and tracking your calories and being disciplined and going to the gym. This is why I have no sympathy for fat people, because it really is simple.
But that right there.
Taylor sent me something the other day that was like, if you get like 1 minute, I think, of vigorous exercise a day, you're already putting yourself in a way better health condition as far as developing chronic illness or cardiovascular disease down the line in life. 1 minute. Like if you just 1 minute out of your day, just do like jumping jacks or high knees or, you know, jog a little bit, you're already putting yourself in such a better position when it comes to your health. I forgot what the exact stat was on what you sent me.
Yeah, I remember the stat. I know it's Dr. Rhonda Patrick, who's been on Joe Rogan a bunch of times, and I don't even really follow her, but those clips pop up on my X feed now and then. And yeah, it's a lot of this, like, you know, high intensity short bursts, and apparently there's just massive health benefits to doing that.
Yeah, and it's just like, if you're on social media all the time, you can get a really skewed perspective of what fitness can look like, and it almost convinces you that it has to look like meal prepping every single day and making 30 meals on Sunday so you can eat everything throughout the week. It looks like a $200 gym membership where you can go and the gym has smoothies and this and that, and you have to go for at least an hour and a half every day, and then you have to do a push-pull this and arm leg that. It's really not that much. It's about doing what's within your capacity to do, and that can be a couple minutes a day of just standing up from your desk while you're working and doing high knees, or, you know, going into the break room at work and squatting, you know, 30 times or something like that, and you've done something great for your body. It doesn't have to be this all-encompassing, all-consuming health journey that you go on. You can start so small, and I think there's something so empowering about just taking the first step and going, oh my gosh, my body can do that. That's so cool. And feeling your heart race, or feeling, you know, that you've stressed yourself in a certain way and that you can do that more tomorrow. And you can start on just the smallest possible step. Trading something bad that you eat in the day for something better. That's something I've been practicing because I eat candy. I legit have candy right here on my desk because your girl loves sour candy. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna have sour candy right now. And be like, no, I'm just gonna trade it for like a fruit really quick. And I will tell myself, before you go and eat something that you know is gonna be so shit for your body, just go and grab something that's healthier, maybe is, has a little bit more density to it, like an apple or a cucumber or something, or if you want something sweet, eat some watermelon or whatever. And then see at the end of that if you still want that unhealthy thing that you were gonna go for, because oftentimes it's just like your body's system going dopamine, dopamine, dopamine. You want the thing, you wanna go on social media, you wanna eat the candy, you wanna eat that cinnamon bun. And as soon as you just take a second to breathe and let another thought enter your body, you'll get back to it and go, oh, I actually didn't need that in the first place. And if you set yourself up for success in the morning, which I think is a really important thing, just to do something healthy as soon as you wake up, you'll be like, oh, I don't want to ruin that thing that I did earlier for myself, that really healthy thing that I set up beforehand by doing something that's unhealthy. And it can become easier. And that doesn't mean you don't fail, doesn't mean you don't eat unhealthy things. It just means like little by little, just take a small little step. And yeah, that's it.
Build some momentum.
Build some momentum, yeah.
Is what keeps guys like us out of getting into fitness.
Shouldn't it do the opposite, though?
No, no one wants to be told they're a piece of shit.
If I was being made fun of all the time for being short, I'd wear shoe lifts to be taller.
Let me explain this. Like, shaming rarely works, and I'll bring this back to somebody I follow, and I appreciate their content. He's a guy named Alex Hormozi, and he does a value equation. And on the top side of that equation, you have the perceived value of whatever you're trying to achieve, plus the perceived chance of success. So how likely are you to, achieve said result? And on the bottom side of the equation, you divide by time and you divide by effort. Shaming doesn't work because the value equation is driven by those things. So what I think we need to do on this side of the table is to make those things more accessible. Like you said, providing more value-driven information of like how to achieve a calorie deficit in a more sustainable way. How do you make it so it's not so much time? Because so many people waste time, let's say, doing so much excess cardio where strength training should be the main component. Yeah. So like that's why I think adding value and decreasing time and decreasing the amount of effort is going to give you guys so much more emphasis or ability to achieve the result and more motivation to achieve said result than being like, oh, you're fat, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So that's just my take on it.
Well, it's because the fitness industry overcomplicates it so that they can monetize it. So if they
why,
tell
is
you,
that their
I
fault?
got the secret sauce. Well, this is why it's important to acquire knowledge and be able to, whether you go ahead and do your own research. And again, it comes back to doing the work, and people get so mad, like, oh, why is this hard? Do your research, look at the studies. There's so much fitness studies out there. There's no secrets. It's just discipline and sustainability over a period of time.
Have you guys ever been confused about how to get and stay in shape based on the information that's out there?
Yeah. Totally. I would never, ever take advice from you. To get that advice or to gain that knowledge because of whatever this disposition it is that you have going on, right?
What's a disposition?
Can you describe it?
I think I just keep it real.
I wouldn't even enable it toxic, but I think it's like you have this perspective about the world around you that I think is kind of really warped, and I don't understand why, and I would like to understand why, and I'm not getting it because you're like, shame is the answer and stuff like that, but
it's worked for centuries.
It's not, though.
Okay. I think he's confusing something working for something being helpful, like for something being healthy. Shame can work in a lot of ways. Like I can shame people out of certain behavior or shame them out of coming to me with that behavior when they commit it. But that doesn't mean it's a healthy thing to do. Now, there are going to be certain people, like I hear from a lot of guys who are like, yeah, I didn't want to get healthy until my friend bullied me into being healthy and told me that I was like too fat to get a woman or whatever. And that could be a very powerful driver for some people, arguably just not for women almost at all. But then maybe there are some women who also respond to that. Shame can get you the desired result, but that doesn't mean you've done it in a healthy way. And I think oftentimes people who use shame and think it's such a powerful tool and a wonderful motivator are often too lazy to get the same results in a more healthy way. Now, he's the one calling fat people lazy. I think his tendency and propensity to jump to bullying and shame is a laziness on his part, because it's much harder to maybe get the same result by actively showing up for somebody and motivating them and being helpful and being positive. And he seems to have a short fuse and can't reach positivity soon enough to be able to motivate somebody in that way. And that just happens to be, something about him. So yeah, I don't doubt that shame 100% works, but there is a certain amount of damage that you instill in somebody during that process that I don't know that you ever truly get out of it. There's plenty of people who've been shamed out of being fat, but that process causes a lot of pain on the way there. I'd much rather see somebody, motivate that person or show up to the gym with them every day and say, we're going to go at this journey together and we're going to see what you can truly do. And I'm going to reward you along the way with positivity, with praise, with things like that. And I don't know, I think that works better, although it might get you the same result to bully,
Yeah, I just don't understand why we can't be like more holistic and balanced about it. Like, you can ruin someone's life by being too hard on them and shaming them, and you can also ruin someone's life by being too soft on them and enabling them to stay in states that are on trajectories that are unhealthy or bad or whatever, and make them ill-equipped for dealing with real life and ill-equipped for dealing with the truth and objective reality. So it cuts both ways, but I think it's self-evident that we don't want all only shame, only being hard on people. We don't want only treating people with kid gloves. We want people to be healthy and achieve health in a balanced, holistic manner that doesn't break their psyche, but that also doesn't get them so delusional and out of touch with reality that they are in denial about eating will make them, or eating in excess in perpetuity will make them sicker and fatter. It's like, we can find a middle ground there. It seems pretty obvious. It's the name of the show.
Yes. And I see people commenting, Amala, you're contributing to a soft society. You're being too soft on people. Okay, positivity and motivation does not have to be soft. You can be very hardcore and very staunch in motivating somebody and being positive towards them. Like telling somebody you can do more. I know you can do more. I know there's more like positivity and more capabilities like lurking within you, and we're going to get to the other end of it. That is being strong with somebody, but it's also being positive. It's a very different thing to look at somebody and be like, you're disgusting. You're fat. You've disappointed me. You've disappointed yourself. You're going to get nowhere in life, It's about shifting what we would normally say in a negative light to a positive one. And in some ways that can sort of make people feel some amount of shame, but more so I'm saying you want to make people feel as though they can do more, not that they haven't been doing enough. You know what I mean? It's just semantics at the end of the day, and how you switch words out to promote a better message. And that can be very powerful. And it doesn't mean that you're going soft on somebody or giving them excuses. It just means you're choosing to be strongly positive with somebody who needs it.
Yeah, and I think just to speak on the male side of it too, like my brother is like 6'4", jacked, Marine, just total animal when it comes to fitness and everything, and he does cold plunges every day and just like very disciplined. And I've worked out with him, a few times over the years, and a bunch of times over the years. And, if we're running or something and I decide, I'm not going to finish this run, I'm going to quit or whatever, then they'll be like, you're going to quit? Come on, dude, what the heck? That's shaming. But from what you're talking about, that idea of, because I know you can do more, I'm holding you to a higher standard. And same thing, like in the gym, if I want to quit on this, group of reps or whatever, because it's just hard and I don't want to do it. It's kind of, I'm shaming you by saying like, you're going to quit. That's weak, man. Don't do that. But it's not out of this sense of, I think you're worthless and I'm affirming that with my words. It's, I think you're capable of more, and I'm calling that out of you with some tough love. And I think that's the distinction there. And if you're not speaking to people in a way where you're trying to call something forth out of them that is capable of more, that is greater, and you're just saying like, you suck, then it's not going to have the intended effect, and you're going to do more damage to them than than anything. Yeah.
Yep. And don't forget, like, not only does the negativity weigh on the person you're being negative towards, but it weighs on you too. Every time I look at Myron, I just like, there's an aura of negativity that is just surrounding him. His facial expressions, his tendency, his body language, like everything is negative. And I cannot, that manifests physically. I don't know how anybody feels about that. When you are a negative human being, it literally is harming your body. And people may disagree with me on that. It is. I stand 10 toes down on that. It's not healthy.
It's why you have so much conflict. It's why we're literally sitting here today having this discussion.
So here's the thing. You operate on what's ideal. I operate on what's real. And the reality is that the world is a much colder and harder place than you think it is, but you want to, people to just understand you and see your perspective and see you as how you see yourself. The reality is the world's never going to see you how you see yourself. They're going to see you on how you display yourself to them. And when you are fat, out of shape, etc., the people, and if they don't get to know you and talk to you and have a conversation with you, they're going to assume certain things. That's just the world that we live in.
Just to dig a little deeper into that, has something happened to you to confirm that observation that you have?
No, I mean, I just live in objective reality, and objective reality isn't as nice as you think it is.
So you're not drawing from a personal experience at all?
No, I'm speaking fairly objectively that these are the conversations that people have behind closed doors, but they don't want to say out loud because for fear of cancellation, for fear of coming off as an asshole, etc. I'm just saying how people really feel, but they're scared to say it.
Coming from whether the fitness space can be toxic or not, the shame attitude has kept a lot of people out of it. I've been doing fad diets since I was 12 years old. I was put on Weight Watchers. I did Atkins. I did paleo. I did everything you could possibly imagine. And not until I started following other influencers that were more proactive based on, I want to be around for my daughter for as long as I possibly can be. I want to give my body the function it needs. Like just that basic mind shift, hey, life can get a lot better if you do kind of focus on your health a little more. Instead of, you're a fat piece of shit, you need to change. To me, I don't know everyone in the fitness industry, but I know for me personally, it totally changed my relationship with fitness when I started realizing that it was a gross benefit instead of a punishment I had to put onto myself for not being disciplined enough. For people like you to maybe respect me, who, again, we don't know each other in reality. So why am I destroying my life so you will respect me one day?
And also, when you shame people and you're like a piece of shit to them, they don't want your respect. It's actually demotivating because it's like, why would I want love and respect from this person who I know very much dislikes me? It's very similar to when we're having political conversations, and a lot of people will speak to leftists who are in their life that they don't agree with, and they go, "You're brainwashed, you're indoctrinated, you're stupid. Now let me show you some facts so that you can come onto my side." It's like, why would I want to be on your side? You're an asshole. It's like, I don't want to be anywhere near the person who just said all these things to me. I don't want to be associated with you whatsoever. And that the same can be said for people when you speak to them like that about their weight and you try to motivate them in that way. Why would I want to be anywhere near somebody who's, calling me a fat ass and saying that I'm not worth anything and I don't deserve respect? It just doesn't work.
Going to the gym and training isn't going to destroy your life.
And it doesn't.
It's going to enhance it, if anything.
But I'm saying,
it's going to enhance it.
Well, yeah, I do that. I'm saying, it wasn't until someone told me about those enhancements and kind of approached it with more of an empathetic way of being that it seemed attractive to me at all to be a part of it.
Does anyone here respond positively to shame?
No.
I think in some ways, I feel like a lot of us can relate to this. Like when we were younger, I wouldn't say it was shame, but I wasn't necessarily like happy with the way I look, and that kind of motivated me to get into fitness in the first place, right? And we're talking, this was like in high school, so I think to some degree, shame that's not put on by others could be helpful, right? It has to be something within yourself that can motivate you.
I'll speak on the shame thing too, because the shame that I guess embodied came from myself. So when I was on my weight loss journey and I was like losing weight, the day that I weigh in and it was like the scale read 1 pound over, like I would take those pills that make you shit, literally, to like lose that extra pound to see. Like, so going back to the toxic situation, that's where I got fucked up, because I would do things in response to me not getting that positive stimulus to hurt myself ultimately. Do I have therapy now? Yeah, because it's a double-edged sword for sure.
I think shame is good. I think it's a very natural response to inadequacy, and it tells people that, hey, maybe I need to change. Like being bullied as a man, being shamed, it's a good thing because it stimulates you to change and make a better difference most of the time.
But some people don't respond. Like some people, when they get shamed, they get shut down, and now they proceed further into that negative, behavior because it's not something, as Zach and everybody else was mentioning, that was positive to bridge that gap.
That's a part of the masculine journey, is overcoming adversity.
It's not a talk of masculinity,
bro.
It's just like
being a pussy and being like, okay, I'm going to prove you wrong. And this is the thing, it makes or breaks you. Not everyone's going to win. We need winners and we need losers. The losers are the ones that shut down like, oh, I'm sad now. I'm going to continue eating ice cream. Okay, you're a fucking loser. Stay over there. But there's guys that rise up to the challenge and say, you know what? I'm going to do better. I'm going to fucking surpass you. And that's where guys need to be. You need that killer instinct where you use that as fuel. It's up to you how you want to do it.
The goal?
I just think it's different strokes for different folks. Some people are very motivated by shame, and particularly men, I would say, because it appeals to masculine sensibilities of like, I'm inadequate and men are bullying me and I'm competitive by nature and I want to assert myself in a situation and I'm not in the body type to do that, so I need to work on that. For some men, that's going to work. For others, it's not going to work. His argument that like we shame people and if it doesn't work, we just call them losers and allow them to eat ice cream is just going to leave people, behind the ball. Why would you not try a different approach with those people to see if maybe there's something else that you can communicate to them that really gets them to where they need to be and build an overall healthy society instead of like leaving people as winners and losers. I understand from a realist perspective that there are winners and losers, but I think there's far more winners than he's giving credit for because he's not willing to try other means of communication to find people who could also be winners in his worldview. Not everyone responds to shame, and it should not be the one and only tactic that we use to get through to people, and then we go, guess it didn't work, and leave the people who it didn't work on to, fend for themselves. I think this is widely studied and known that like shame is not a great motivator and not a great tool to use on people. I don't know. I feel like that's common knowledge.
Goal of the fitness industry to get people more fit.
Yes. Of course.
That's the blanket goal.
Of course.
And we're saying shame and calling me a piece of shit doesn't motivate me to get more fit.
Well, we need winners and losers.
No.
We need winners and losers.
The industry
like, there's going to be inevitably there's going to be losers.
Correct?
If you don't respond favorably to shame and bullying, etc., and you don't overcome it, you're effectively a loser.
Let's be clear, though. You just said the right word. Fitness industry. It is a industry.
Yeah.
It is to make money. It's not necessarily to get people into shape, it's to make money. So sure, there's gonna be junctions along the way. Like I'm a coach, there has to be tough love. Like if you're not doing the things you're supposed to be doing, I have to be a little bit harder on you. But that's not gonna start your journey, me being like, you're a fat piece of shit. Whereas like, if we get into it and we're 3 months in and you're not making progress because there's a lot of things you're not doing that we're coaching you on, then of course there's going to be some tough love, there's going to be some extra accountability, but I think there's a difference between accountability and tough love than just like shaming somebody into doing something, because that's not going to create that like long-term ability to obviously achieve it on their own.
But Myron would prefer shame.
Shaming is a component to get people to be accountable.
We all just want to know when shame motivated you to be better.
Me personally?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm speaking in general here as far as like
but don't
shame
speak
working.
general.
But
Speak for yourself. Personally, when did shame change your life?
Oh, well, here's the thing. I think every man growing up has been shamed to some degree where they're like, you know what, I need to improve this. Whether they grew up skinny.
No, you
though.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was skinny, right? And then I got picked on. And I was like, okay, I'm either going to let this define me or I'm going to overcome. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go to the gym and start training.
But does it work?
Okay, right. And I can beat a kid with a belt and it will make him pick up his toys. Does that mean that everybody needs to be beat with a belt in order to get the desired result? There's a lot of things that you can do to somebody to bring about the desired result that you want out of them. You can shame them, bully them, beat them, harass them. You can do all of these different things. That doesn't mean the mode that you use to get to the result is the one that we should apply to everybody, and it doesn't make it healthy.
In any other interpersonal relationship, like, have your parents ever shamed you, come down on you, made you feel like shit?
Absolutely.
Did you deserve all of it, 100% of it?
Absolutely, they shame me, and I think that's fantastic. And I think that's a part of your parents' job is to shame you for your fuck ups.
What about people in abusive relationships or with abusive parents who are now in no contact situations or anything like that? Not me. I love my folks. They're great.
Yeah.
But like, just for the TV record, in case they watch it. Like, but I know a lot of people who are on like no contact.
a line. But
So that's all I'm saying is in the fitness world, I would rather be with someone who's trying to uplift me, trying to get me to improve, hold me accountable. Tough love, absolutely, I think is important.
Yeah.
There's a total difference between tough love and shame.
Absolutely.
shame is a component of tough love. You're
Shame
using
is only done with the intent to hurt somebody, not to uplift them.
We got to reset.
You gotta reset. That's fine.
I would not
Okay.
like to be on the other side. If that's true for you, come forward.
I would, of course, walk forward for that.
I'm very medium on this.
When I was in high school, they do your graduation photos, and they had a saying, and my saying was, my worst nightmare would be if I gained 10 pounds of fat. Literally, grade 12, I remember it clear as day. I was already a competitive bodybuilder, and so to imagine being 100 or 200 pounds overweight when I strived my whole life to look kind of like this, I just couldn't imagine it. It would be a nightmare for me.
I agree. From like a health perspective, like being overweight or obese like puts you at a higher risk of developing chronic illnesses, and I think I wouldn't want to be in that position. And if I was in that position, I would do what I can in order to get to a healthier weight.
Okay, so I just want to make sure everyone gets to say their piece before I go. I mean, yeah, it's completely unacceptable to be fat as a man. It's completely unacceptable. It's just so many problems with it. I've been fat, I've been skinny, and I've been in shape, and I will pick being in shape every single time. Just like if you ask someone that's rich versus someone that's poor, they will pick being rich every single time. And the thing is that most fat people, not all, but most, have never even seen their abs. They've never seen what their body is capable of. They've never been actually happy with their physique. And once you get that taste, you're never gonna wanna go back. And then on top of that, you're gonna wanna go ahead and tell all those fat asses that you were once friends with, you need to get in shape. This is awesome. But the reality is we live in this crazy world where we coddle fat people, we coddle idiots, we coddle morons, and we don't hold anybody accountable, and we allow mediocrity to strive in the West. And I think we need to go back to shaming fat people. We need to go back to making fun of them. I mean, if I was president, hell, I'd put all of them in a fat concentration camp so they can concentrate on dieting and exercising, because being fat is completely not acceptable. I'd have these people back in shape, because what people don't also understand is that fat people bring a big burden on the healthcare system. Obesity, diabetes, heart disease, etc. It's a big problem.
Do you really mean that, or are you just saying that?
Yeah, of course. I'm dead ass. Yeah, if I was president, make me president, I would get rid of the obesity problem like that. I find it interesting that they can lock us up in their homes for almost 2 years saying wear a mask, etc. But then I say, I'm gonna lock these dudes up in a concentration camp where we're gonna get them healthy food, we're gonna get them exercising, and I'm looked at as crazy.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I guess there's
so much of this take that I agree with, and then it just goes boom, right downhill.
the
My
distinction
gosh.
between having opinions about how COVID was handled and genuinely believing that all fat people should be in a concentration camp.
Yes,
And
a
I just wanna make
concentration
sure-
camp. Let me be clear. I'm talking about a concentration camp where they're concentrating on diet and exercise.
So I wouldn't necessarily want to go from one extreme to another. I also would not want to be spewing out stuff just to hopefully get a viral clip.
So if you could snap your fingers and look like any of us, would you not do it? Like, would it not be worth
I probably
it?
choose to look like Tyler. I want to go to a place where it's comfortable and it's healthy all around. I'm not doing things that could negatively impact me in a way to get to a place like that. Like, I've gone through that. I've gone through having eating disorders from chewing gum and drinking water and starving myself.
Okay, well then just do the healthy thing. I don't know.
In different ways to achieve something. Like when I was dancing, my dance teacher blatantly told me, if you don't lose a certain amount of weight, I'm kicking you out of the showcase. So what did I do? I resorted to everything that I could possibly do to cut pounds like crazy. And it wasn't sustainable. It really screwed with me mentally, but I was doing it. And of course, like in the moment, it sort of felt good, but then I fainted in class one time. And that really, really sucked.
So I feel like you would switch sides if it meant doing it naturally. Like, he's obviously natural, he's natural.
That's what I'm saying.
Obviously not.
I would switch sides if it meant that I could do it in a healthy way. And I mean, obviously, like I expressed, that I'm working on that. And I'm not saying that what you did was wrong. I really applaud the fact that you're saying to people like, hey, this was what my journey was, this is what it took, but I really don't advise that.
Okay, so here's the thing, man. Like, excellence and comfort cannot coexist. If you want to be an anomaly and you want to be the trendsetter, you want to be the top guy, you got to be able to be comfortable being uncomfortable. As far as like weight loss because you said I'm just saying things to get a viral clip. How would you deal with the obesity problem?
Like I said, pouring life into people. How am I dealing with it? I'm sharing what it's taking me.
Explain what pouring life is. Like, what would that actually look like?
As someone who...
Well, okay, how would you deal with the obesity problem? I mean, a first priority, at least in American politics and American culture, is freedom. So the fat concentration camps doesn't really work out, does it? If you're going to be president of the United States of America, leader of the free world with an emphasis on free. It's all about incentivizing people. So it's about, promoting our farmers who are bringing about, organic produce and putting us in a space where affordable, healthy options are more abundant, disincentivizing people from creating things like, fast food and these disgusting brands that are just literally giving you cancer that we all indulge in and we eat. Michelle Obama did a great thing when she was first lady, where when I was a kid and you turned on Nickelodeon, the TV went black for like 30 minutes and was like, hey, if you're a kid and you have a parent, guardian, babysitter around right now, the TV's off for 30 minutes of play. And they even, I think, televised like Michelle Obama going out and playing with a bunch of kids, and they had all these snacks and fruits for them to eat and stuff like that. It's about the media we consume, the entertainment we consume, incentivizing healthy lifestyles, fitness programs and things that you can do in your daily life. And it's about showing people how simple and effective fitness and healthy eating really is. And that's a restructuring of a ton of stuff. It's a restructuring of our healthcare system and, pharmaceutical companies and regulating them to a great extent. It is restructuring the way we view food, our access to food. It's a multifaceted thing. But what it is not is taking away freedom from people who struggle with obesity and putting them in concentration camps. It's definitely not that, at least not in the free world. Maybe if you're China or North Korea, then that's something that you can indulge in, and that's what you can do to solve your obesity problem. But it's certainly not what we do in the United States.
Who creates content online? I share what it is that I do in the gym. I share my routine. I talk about like, hey, today was a shit day, but guess what? I pushed past that and I just benched 405. That's more than I weigh. When I want to hang out with friends, if I know that my schedule does not allot me that time, but I know that I have this time during the gym, I'll tell my friends like, hey, pull up with me.
So you're inspiring others?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what if I told you at the camp, everyone's exercising together and they're inspiring each other?
But
Same thing.
You approached it at such a negative way. Like, you approached it from a place of shame. And like, most of us have blatantly told you that shame didn't really work. Shame is what led me to an eating disorder. Shame is what led me to unsustainable weight loss.
Whose fault is that,
what
though?
We're looking for is stability.
Whose fault is that you decided to go an unsustainable route with dieting? Whose fault is that?
So if I was given a timeline that I needed to meet, and I'm trying to figure out, without also having the tools to do so the proper way, and I'm just grasping at straws on how I do it, yeah, it's not sustainable.
Yeah, so whose fault is it that they chose an unsustainable route to lose weight? That's your fault.
It's
See, the
an
problem is that you're a
amalgamation.
professional victim. I don't know if you've caught on to this, but you're a professional victim. You constantly blame others for your inadequacies and why you're fat. The reason why you're fat...
I haven't blamed not one person for where I am.
Yeah, because you're always like, but it's tough and all this other stuff. The reality is this, man.
Wait,
you eat too much,
I'm
you don't
trying to
exercise
figure out
enough,
where these misconceptions about me are.
Again, you can say whatever...
Okay.
They're kind of two sides of the same coin. They're like two extremes. Like, one is just like so like just imposing and trying to, say they're going to put people in camps and shame and bully. And the other one is just like excuses. This is why things get happen. This is why things get happen. And you really just want to be somewhere in the middle and not on either side of the coin here.
What do you want to say?
I do want to press.
I called you out on it, and I said, you're searching for a viral clip.
Everyone has an excuse for why they're fat.
I think that it's really sad.
And they can't take accountability for why they're fat.
Really sad.
We got to pause. Let's bring in our disagreeers.
You guys were arguing so much, I forgot the prompt. What was the prompt again?
It was, I don't want to be on the other side.
Oh, okay.
No, of course I would. I'm a curious person. I have been in much more traditional, like aesthetically pleasing shape in my past, but I've never gotten to like your guys' standards. And of course, I'm curious about anyone's life, like what it's like to walk through their shoes. So I don't see why I wouldn't be.
Yeah, I absolutely chose to, if I could, I'd switch. So when I was my lightest weight, which was 273, I wasn't anywhere near you guys, but I had muscles, I felt really good about myself. And now that I've fallen back, I literally like almost hate life because I got somewhere, got really close and it was out of reach. And now I'm falling back and I gotta fight again. So if I could, I'd absolutely would switch.
What makes it hard to, like, I don't understand, like you were 273 feeling great. How did you get back? Like I'm curious. Curious.
No, absolutely.
How does that happen?
So when I started my weight loss journey, I was very focused, like I can't take any outside help. Like I gotta do this on my own. I did all the research myself. So my problem was when I would hit plateaus, it hit hard because I'm like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, why not cutting weight? So eventually I hit enough plateaus to where like my mentality was just breaking down.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with the prompt just saying like, I probably wouldn't go extreme like on your side of the spectrum, so that kind of stuff, but I would like to look like Tyler.
Everyone wants to look like Tyler.
Tyler's got a good physique, a good natural physique.
Tyler is the ideal for me of what I want to look like, but I mean, I wouldn't be that short too, but
I'm just gonna say it, the elephant in the room. Every fat person would want to be in shape. The problem is that they're not willing to do what's required to get in shape, hence why they are fat.
But it's abundantly clear what you think. Like we've got it.
Kudos to you.
It's a lie.
The next prompt is, your physique is in your control. Can the agreeers please step forward?
Yeah, I mean, largely in control. Like if you want to be skinnier, arguably it's like a little bit, I think, harder. It's like if you have a naturally like fast metabolism, you want to really tack on weight. That's kind of a little bit more difficult, but that is largely within your control. Now, everybody has like the different way that their weight is dispersed in their body and like how their muscles grow and shrink and all these different things. So there's only so much of that that's within your control. Once you get to like the finer points of trying to build a very specific physique, but as far as weight goes, very much in your control.
So long story short, in 2018, I got to my heaviest weight, which was 441 pounds, and I was depressed as, like, I'm not gonna cuss, but
you can say it.
I was depressed as fuck, man. Like it was really hard. My weight had built like a cage around my mind. So even things that I knew were good for me, I couldn't even like go for it because my mentality was just so messed up. And it got to the point to where I had someone tell me like, dude, you're gonna die. And that hurt, you know? And I just flip things around. And I think one thing we haven't mentioned is accountability. I think that's the biggest thing. When I was growing up, my weight was always blamed on someone else. I was like, oh, it's my parents feeding me too much. And it's like, you can close your mouth. Like, I don't have to eat, you know, but.
I honestly agree with a little bit. I see there's some parents on TikTok and stuff that do like making my 1-year-old's lunch or whatever, and it's like donuts and like fried food and all this different stuff, and they're just giving it to these like babies and stuff. There is an argument to be made that your parents can severely handicap you by not feeding you healthy food, and it honestly is a form of abuse. I don't know if that's a hot take. It is a form of abuse if you do not feed your child any healthy food and you're completely packaging garbage for them and having them eat it on a daily basis. Even more so if you're promoting that lifestyle on the internet. Because, you know, where we say people have resources and they can learn and do all this stuff, children are at their most vulnerable, and when they're prior to like going into school and meeting other children and having social interaction with things like teachers, you are their only influence. So if you are a role model that is giving them unhealthy foods, you're leading them down a path of childhood obesity, you are harming your kid in a way that, how do they learn? They can't Google how to be healthy. They don't even know an example of being healthy if that's the parent that they are growing up with. And it is unacceptable.
When I finally made that change in my head, I realized that where you're at, given like the ideal circumstances, it is your choice. I am where I'm at now because I made a series of wrong choices and didn't handle myself correctly.
I mean, you deserve to be depressed if you're fat. I mean, the reality is that, see, depression is a very healthy response to inadequacy. When you're a man, you gotta go out there and produce. We're not women where we can just coast on our looks and make it through life. As a man, you must produce financially.
I gotta cut you off, bro, because no one deserves to be, like, people die from that shit, bro. Like, no one deserves to be depressed.
Let me finish. The reason why you feel depressed and it's a healthy response to you being fat, is because it's your body telling you like, wow, what are you doing? You need to fix this. You're sad because you're not going out there and accomplishing what you're supposed to do. It's your masculine duty to make money, to be successful, to lose weight, to be strong and fit, so that you can protect and provide for the people that you love. And when you're not able to do that, you get depressed and you get sad, rightfully so, because you're a fuck up.
Have you experienced depression?
Well, I've had times where I've been sad and stuff, but I always get over it.
So you shouldn't speak on it then. 'Cause
I
that's like
think
real
that's very
shit.
insensitive to people
Yeah,
who actually
people
have
deserve
mental
to be
health disabilities.
Depression most of the time is not real, no.
That's fucking wild.
No.
That's fucking wild.
The earth is flat.
A lot.
It's very interesting that he says it's not real, but then he also says that obesity is a health risk that actually does lead to depression and can manifest physically from the state of being obese, which would arguably mean that it is real and you can actually induce depression by virtue of making certain lifestyle choices. So I'm not sure exactly what he means by that. Now, what he's saying is true largely. The word deserve is where we've gotten into a little bit of tricky territory. Like I said, he may say true things, but he's just not helpful in his persuasive tactics, if we can even call it that. I don't even know that his goal is to persuade people. Maybe he claims that it is. But yeah, if you are living in an unhealthy body, your body will signal that to your mind, and that can lead to depression. And you hope it's something that you're able to recognize and get out of. But another part of depression is not being motivated towards certain end goals and not wanting to get up and not wanting to do things. And anybody who's struggled through depression, I think, can attest to that. But yeah, I think there's a lot of health to bring to your mind and going and working out and eating healthy. And as soon as you start taking that step, you will realize how much healthier your brain feels. People who are obese, and especially morbidly obese, have a lot of, brain fog, depressive states. They're demotivated, and it is a never-ending cycle that sort of feeds into itself and leads to a larger problem. So there is a choice that needs to be made, that even in the state of depression, you have to try something to get out of it. And often that is exercise and a good diet. He's just not, there's no kindness, there's no warmth in his communication of that. And you can still say the same message and you can still espouse what he believes without the cold nature of the way that he's doing it. But apparently he thinks that is helpful. And to some it may be. Again, I said there are men who respond to shame and being bullied, and they find some sort of camaraderie in that. These ones clearly don't.
A lot of the times when people are depressed, it's because of their own inadequacies. You're messing up in something in your life.
Is that an inadequacy?
He doesn't mean in all cases.
No, he's saying in the majority.
When you say a blanket statement,
there's always going to be exceptions, but I'm speaking generally in this context of being fat and why you were depressed. It's because
that wasn't the only reason why I was depressed. But go on.
Okay, but it's a component. You know what I mean?
It was a big component.
It was a response to your inadequacy as a man, and the thing is that we live in a meritocracy. I know everyone likes to run around and say, oh, everyone's equal and it's all equality for everyone. No, that's not how the world works. Why the fuck should I be treated equally to someone who's fat, broke, not disciplined, and not as intelligent? It's a competition. Life is a competition.
Where are you getting the notions that people are not disciplined? Where is that coming from?
If you look at depressed guys, etc., look at their life 9 out of 10 times. They're not going to the gym. They're not making the money that they're supposed to be making. They're not where they need to be. Show me a guy that's making money, successful, has a good set of friends around him, has a network, etc., that is depressed. You would rarely find that. Are there exceptions to the rule? Of course. There's always exceptions to the rule.
The news that
there's always exceptions to the rule.
Themselves because they were depressed.
There's always exceptions to the rule. But in general,
understand that it's not black and white.
When you get depressed, a lot of the times it's because you're a fuck up and it's your body's natural response to you being a fuck up.
Has anyone here ever felt like they didn't have control over their body or their physique?
There's times where I felt like I didn't have the control I wanted, but there was never a point where I'm like, this isn't within my ability to do.
Yeah, I think we all go through stages, especially mental health.
You wish it was easier sometimes, but other than that, it's like, no, of course I'm in control of it. I know I am.
So, I've started a fitness journey. I've been smaller, I've been bigger. I used to be a dancer. This really was what fueled me, hit a depression. I turned to food as, something to comfort me. And I realized that I was spiraling, right? Started working out again, kind of fell off of it, but this year I told myself it was my year of renaissance, right? That I was going to actively make the changes in all aspects of my life, including my health, including what my body looks like and what my body is capable of. And so I've been doing that. Now, did that mean that I was any less of a hard worker? No. I fucking worked 3 jobs. 2 of them that I love and 1 of them as a survival job to make sure that I'm able to continue doing what I love. So I go to the gym every single day after work. It doesn't matter what time I get off of work. It doesn't matter what things that I have going on after work, I go. But again, going back to assumptions, you looked at me and you made assumptions about laziness, about not caring about my health and things like that, when that's the complete opposite. I reached out, I got myself a trainer because I was like, I can't do this alone. And I told him straight up, these are the things that I want you to work on with me. I want to work on building mass, losing weight, but most importantly, consistency. And I feel like all of you guys can agree that that's what it is, right? Am I where I ideally want to be yet? No. But I also learned that I needed to love myself as I am right now and build those tools so that when I get to where I'm going, I can enjoy it that much more because it's a labor of love.
It doesn't have to be a labor of love. Some people who are overweight, are they going to the gym? Are they putting the fork down? Are they doing the things they need to do? If they spent 14 hours a week doing cardio and eating healthy, they would lose the weight. I spend 14 hours a week learning Spanish, even though I am horrible at it, but I'm trying my best. And if everyone else tried their best, we wouldn't see anyone morbidly obese on this planet.
I don't disagree.
He's right in saying that. I do like the response that like not everything has to be a labor of love. Like sometimes you could be motivated by things that are way more uncomfortable than love. And sometimes that is shame. Sometimes that is distaste with yourself. And maybe if some people need a little bit of that in order to get to their path. I do wonder how long he's been on this fitness journey and has he like lost weight? Because if you're going to the gym every single day, you must be just not eating very healthily, or maybe he has health conditions. I don't know if he spoke to that in any way, but I would just be curious about that because things are not adding up. It must be a poor diet.
I agree with you at all, but I think you said it's like you're spending 14 hours doing Spanish. For me, you know, I still work out every week. I still prioritize my health, but there are other things in my life that do
Eat
take a
half
higher
the calories, and you're going to be very skinny.
But that doesn't matter to me.
Guaranteed.
That's the whole
I'm
thing.
not saying you need to. I'm just saying no one should make excuses.
And that's why I think that's why we all sat down. I totally agree. It's within my, because I've gotten really svelte in my past, but I was at like my worst state mentally. Like didn't feel good. Wasn't prioritizing the things that meant something to me in my life, my career, my family, my daughter. Health is still super important to me. That's why I still work out, still lift, still do cardio, still hike, still bike, still do all those things. The amount of time I've had to spend in the past to get to that isn't worth it in my daily life. I'd rather.
Well, then you're not maximizing, like you call in a professional to help you like really maximize that opportunity, because I hear these people that say like, oh, I lost a ton of weight, but like I felt like shit after I did it. And it's like, okay, well, how did you do it? It's like, well, I was going to the gym for 2 hours every day. I was eating grapes and celery and, you know, like ground beef and stuff. And that was all I was eating. Okay, so well, you might be losing weight, but you're not getting there like in a healthy means. You're not maximizing your time to achieve your goals with your family and your work and be healthy at the same time, which is very much within your control if you have the education on it. So if you need to pull in like a third party or do a little bit of research, like, I don't know, I think AI could honestly be a super healthy tool right now. You can literally go on to ChatGPT and say like, I'm a woman, I weigh this much, here's my current physique or whatever, here's what I want to achieve as far as like gaining muscle mass and losing weight or whatever. Could you give me like an outline of a meal plan that you think would work for this? Also, here are my health conditions. And you can send that to ChatGPT and it will literally spit you out like a meal plan. And you could even say, I only have a $100 budget for the week. Can you redo this meal plan and do it for me? It will spit you out what you should eat every single day, with that all within the parameters that you've given it. Now, of course, it might not be 100% accurate, but like there's so many tools at your disposal where it doesn't have to be this all-consuming thing where like, oh man, I did get skinny, but my life is fucked up now and my wife divorced me and all this stuff. Like, you can do it and still have time in your day for everything else that you want to do in life. If he wants to spend time with his kids, pick your kid up and squat with your kid in your hand. Like there are a ton of different things that you can do to maximize health, still have fun. It doesn't have to consume your entire life force to do it.
Rather spend that time,
I would say
focusing on
also, would you agree, like looking at his physique, like he's at a perfectly, I would say, maybe healthy.
No.
You think?
He's definitely overweight, definitely obese.
I mean, if you count BMI,
I'm not trying to put you down, just being honest.
By a BMI standpoint,
But there's a
I'm
big difference
absolutely
between
obese.
this weight and if you gain 200 pounds. But if you gain 200 pounds, I'd be like, why are you doing this to yourself? You know what I mean?
But I
That
wouldn't
would
be happy gaining 200 pounds. That's kind of what I'm saying. Is I kind of found kind of like a homeostasis where I'm happy and I feel healthy and I feel active and I feel like I can do what I need to do. All my numbers are in the right place, so I feel good. It's just, it hasn't been a priority for me to go further.
Yeah, you don't need to. It's all about balance from halfway
What
there.
about you? I just want to hear
I
from
was
you.
gonna say I was in the same boat as him. I feel like myself, I feel comfortable with where I'm at right now. I've lost 100 pounds.
Congrats,
I
bro.
know, thanks. And I can keep going. I can step, but like doctor says, everything's fine with you. You are obese, but I will never forget. The doctor told me you're healthy obese, which was like blew my mind.
Healthy for being obese.
Yeah,
probably.
so I needed just one health condition to qualify under health insurance for a weight loss supplement for them. I didn't qualify. I had no high blood pressure, didn't have diabetes, didn't have anything else. So I was like, okay, well, I just want to lose weight because obviously as I get older, it's not going to be like that. But I mean, perfectly, I know I have the control to get where I'm at right now or where I want to be, but I'm pretty happy. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like what's sustainable is different for everyone, right? I think there's a way to weave in fitness in your life in a sustainable manner that might not encompass you losing a ton of weight. I think people kind of have different stages in life where they're focusing on different things, and I think that's something I can completely respect.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, as long as you know that you have the agency to actually make that change,
yeah.
When the time comes, when you want to do it, like I don't see anything wrong with that.
I was very curious, out of show of hands, who here feels like after spending time in this space, you feel like you're closer to understanding the other side than when we stepped in the room?
Yeah. A little surprised.
I understand it less. Literally, like
We'll talk
Just,
after.
we run the risk of it blowing open again, but this was a super interesting discussion. One of the more interesting episodes I've been a part of. So thank you all. Thanks for sharing your perspective. Absolutely. I think that's
I don't know. You must have your ears closed. I don't know how you could get through an entire conversation with 8 different people who are all giving their separate experiences and get to the end of it and say you understand less, unless you just completely were not listening. Even if you don't agree with their perspective, you would still understand it more if you're listening and if you have, your logical facilities intact. So it's just like, I don't like the fitness people who like to virtue signal about how I just simply don't understand how somebody could be fat. I simply don't understand how somebody could be obese. Yes, you can. If you are listening and your mind works, you can understand why somebody's in that state in life. So both him and Myron decided not to raise their hands because they have nothing to learn or take in from other people, even if it's a perspective that they don't agree with. It's actually mind-boggling. So what you're just admitting is that you don't have the capacity to thoughtfully listen to people who you disagree with or that you don't agree with their lifestyle. And that's it at the end of the day. We got through it, y'all. We're gonna get into your super chats now because it's been a long episode.
Yeah, we burned some calories just getting through that, I
Yes,
think.
we did. Yapping calories. That's
workout.
what that is. Been yapping at you guys. Oy.
Let's see. Pedro Martins Costas, our first one from Brazil, says, greetings all the way from Brazil. Love your work. Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. From Brazil. Love that.
Muito obrigado. Albert Nada Retro says, sometimes being fat is a result of bad lifestyle choices. Sometimes it can be a result of medical conditions or injuries. In my case, it's the prior.
Yeah, yours is lifestyle choices. Yeah, I feel like even with like health conditions, like there's hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, all this different stuff that can impact you. Even still, I think a lot is within your control, obviously within reason. Like there's obviously certain things that can't be done given certain health conditions and injuries, but I don't like that we just kind of write people off and say, well, oh, it's no longer possible now that you've been diagnosed with XYZ. When oftentimes there's so much you can do and it's going to just make you happier and healthier.
Timothy says, I've seen this episode already, and Myron being on is pretty antithetical to finding a middle ground. Also, was Myron the one with the baby scandal? No, that was fresh. That was the other one.
Yeah, that was the other one. What's his name? Walter?
Yeah.
Walter's the other one. Yeah, it does seem that way, but I guess they want to challenge and see, like, can this guy still listen? Can people still listen to him, even though he's super combative and abrasive? Didn't seem to be that successful. Every Jubilee Middle Ground has a villain of the episode. It's clearly Myron in reading the comments, but that's a given, obviously. We knew that was going to be the case.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, they had the debates about whether to let Alex Jones back on X or more recently Nick Fuentes. And it's like sunlight's the best disinfectant. You want to get these people's ideas out there so that they can be contended with and seen for what they are, if they are lacking in one way or another. But at the same time, you do run the risk of like somebody running the whole conversation off the rails by making it all about them. And I think that there's certainly, and you could make an argument for that with someone like Myron, but I think they did an okay job of like letting him play devil's advocate in all those, all the ways that he wanted to, but still getting enough out of the other participants. So I don't necessarily hate it.
Yeah.
Rebecca Brock says, which is worse to these people, being overweight or anorexic? Neither one is healthy.
Yeah, neither is healthy. Yeah, I agree with that. There's extremes you can do on either end of the spectrum of weight and health and all these different things. So nothing good about either.
Britt Cormier says, what is the old adage? You can't outwork a bad diet. I had a friend who was a trainer, and they always said eating one salad will not make you skinny, like eating one burger will not make you fat.
Yeah, exactly. Like I follow these accounts that like show like how many cookies you would have to eat in order to actually gain a pound of fat. You would be astounded by how much you'd have to eat in order to make that happen. And the same can be said for like how much you'd have to exercise to burn off some of the things that you eat. And that's why diet is like number one priority over all of these other things. And we focused a lot on like working out and going to the gym and stuff like that, but it's really your diet. They could not work out a day in their lives and really just go about their normal days at their like resting rate of burning off calories, maybe a little bit of like walking, even if it's just like walking to and from your desk to grab water or go to the bathroom at work. And if you're at a calorie deficit while you're doing the normal things you do in every day, you will shed weight. It's just the reality.
Good old physics.
Yep.
35 never felt so good. It's a two-parter. Says, hey there, A and T, happy Cinco de Drinko Mil Povos. It's mixing Portuguese in with Cinco de Mayo, which I think is not even actually like a Mexican thing. But anyways, so I went out on Saturday night, was dancing with the hottest girl in the club, and made the girl who ghosted me last weekend 100% jealous. So man, if you're lonely or not at your best, go looks max and force the change you want to happen. You can do it. Never give up. Never surrender.
Alex is always going to rep looks maxing in the super chat. I'm glad you had a fun time dancing with the hot girl at the club, Alex.
And made the other girl jealous.
Yeah,
Wow.
wow.
Landon Roth says, good afternoon, Amala. I had a question. What is your intro song? It's fire.
Oh, gosh.
Also,
I don't know.
If you like the 1975, you should try listening to Fly By Midnight.
I will have to check that out. Fly By Midnight. If I like the 1975, you know I do. I don't know what the intro song is called, but it's on a website called like Artlist or something like that. Somewhere on there. I don't know what it's called though. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, maybe you can Siri it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or what's it called? Shazam.
Yeah.
Nicodemus 1984 says, am I the only one thinking 70s detective/thriller movies when I see a turtleneck? Of course, congratulations to both of you for your work as usual.
I'll take it. I love a good 70s detective look. So yeah, sure. I don't know that I've ever thought that in looking at a turtleneck, but now I will.
Yeah, I think like, I don't know, upper middle class holiday party get together.
Yeah, exactly. Christmas party.
Yeah, exactly. Chicken Pork Adobo says, my brother used to be obese at 100 kilograms until he had a hard time breathing, so he joined boxing. Now he's 70 kilograms and feels better. And now I joined the gym too.
Dope. Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's about finding something that you like too. Like a lot of people will go to the gym and try it out. And they're like, I just simply don't like doing these types of workouts where you're like picking up weights or going on the Stairmaster. And sometimes the gym can be a very sterile environment and people need something different. Like maybe you like to dance, maybe you like to box, maybe you like jujitsu. There's so many different things that you can do that will bring about the same result. And people just think, oh, I need to get a gym membership and go to the gym. And then they hate it and they push themselves to do something that they really hate. And then oftentimes they like relapse and go back to their old ways. So testing out new things is a super fun thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And for the longest time, especially before I moved here, I still play, but beach volleyball was like my cardio every weekend. I'd play like 5 hours on Saturday and 5 hours on Sunday, and then try to squeeze it in during the week too. And I never had to like run at the gym because that was it. And you're doing other stuff, running around and jumping, but and then I'd supplement that with weights. And since moving here, my cardio dropped off a lot because I don't get to play near as much, and I've had to find other ways to replace that with well, I play golf, and that's not really super active, but point being, you got to do stuff you love to get the work in, supplement just the mundane gym stuff. Let's see. Celtic Blacksmith says, talking through a mouthful of enchiladas, let me tell you a thing or two about being sexy.
Love that. Getting his enchiladas in. I'm not a big fan of enchiladas. I'm not a big fan of Mexican food. Sorry, guys. I know a lot of people are going to hate that I say that. Taylor knows.
Yeah, I don't have to deal with it anymore because I'm not local, but we used to have to drag Amala to Mexican restaurants during lunch hour.
Yep. Not my cup of tea.
Not your cup of margarita.
Yeah.
35 never felt so good again said, I'm glad to have Myron on there speaking facts. Get into shape if you're overweight. Nike, just do it. My name is Greek God and I approve this message.
Yeah, I know a lot of you were putting W's in the chat for Myron, so his message resonates with you. Maybe it's helped you in some way, shape, or form. Like I said, it will work for some. That's why there's so many different personalities in the realm of lifestyle and fitness and stuff like that, because different things work for different people.
I will say I did notice the top comment on Jubilee's video is women who find Myron extremely unattractive as soon as he opened his mouth. Where are you at? And that has over 9,000 likes as of this moment. So
not surprised by that.
Maybe take his perspective with a grain of salt.
Yeah. If you're trying to get ladies. Yeah.
Through the discourse. Let's see. Victoria Hackett says, thank you for making my hour and 15-minute commute much better every day. So glad I found your channel.
Lovely. Love that for you. I'm glad. I'm glad you've been able to spend this time with us. This will be a long one. We're 2 hours and 30 minutes in, guys.
Yeah, you got to play it twice.
Yeah, I guess so.
Frank Mahan says, I'm medium ugly and I have a lot of confidence. Smiley face.
Love that for you. There you go. What did I say? The ladies love that. The ladies love it. Confidence takes you far.
Medium ugly. Kathy says, shame instigates social change. Guilt provokes personal change. Shame society for upholding toxic values. Guilt the person to put down the burger. Then motivate them when they're on the treadmill.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how that would work. Because I guess, yeah, guilt is more of a personal choice that you've made to feel some type of way about it, which is what some of the guys on the fat side were saying. It's like, it had to be a personal choice for me. Like, I had to realize it. Somebody couldn't push me in that direction. And sometimes, somebody can shame you into something. Other times you guilt yourself into it. There's just so many ways you can get to the same result.
Bio 1656 says, maybe fitness is not for them. It's not for everyone.
I think fitness is for everyone. I honestly think fitness is for everyone. I just think we have a strange view of like what fitness is. Like I said, it doesn't mean like having to go to the gym or doing these like crazy workouts or whatever. It can be the simplest thing of just like walking to the store or to church or whatever it is that you do in your daily life. It can be dancing in your living room to music that you like. There's so many things that we don't typically view as fitness that are fitness. And fitness is for everybody because it is what you need to be a healthy human being. We're all capable of making that choice for ourselves. And I think that makes it for everyone.
Yeah. Get into that healthy range that Amala talked about earlier. And to your point, we have like studies that show that not being fit is literally killing you faster. So it behooves all of us who are interested in being around for our loved ones and, getting the most out of life to do something. Also, you mentioned dancing. I saw a chart recently on X that was like the activities and the amount of calories that they burn. It was like running, jogging, weightlifting, walking, all these different things. The one that was like by far and away the highest was dancing, which is really interesting. And it also was really good, like mentally, for endorphins and, dopamine, stuff like that. So
I'm a dancer through and through. I go out dancing on the weekends with my best friend. That's what we do. We went to a conference called Dissident Dialogues in New York, and it was like Richard Dawkins and Ayaan Hirsi Ali and Alex O'Connor and like all these intellectuals talking about like dissident opinions and stuff like that and gender theory. What did we do after that? We went out and we danced, and we went to the same like hotel bar that some of the speakers and everybody was going to be at. And people who like go to these conferences don't dance. They like stand with their drinks and talk about religion and societal and all this stuff, and we were just there cutting it up. I love to dance. I could do it for hours. So I'm sure all these people saw me at the conference like, what the hell is she doing over there? But I don't play when it comes to dancing, and I will dance in front of anybody. So yeah, that was fun. I love it. I should be a Zumba instructor. I'm a Zumba instructor in another life. I really am.
That reminds me, I had to go with you to a conference once for PragerU, and there was like people hanging out after, but they were still just talking about like school choice and debating things. And we were like, let's get out of here. And we went to some like pool hall karaoke bar or something next door. That was awesome.
Like, you got to have fun. You got to be well-rounded. Yeah. We can't just talk about the same things all day. If I'm going to a conference, I'm going to be business during the day, party at night.
100%. Secret Me says, growing up with family who fat shamed me, it has a big impact on myself going to the gym. I understand eating healthier makes a big difference.
Yeah, it's kind of like that pain. I feel like the pain of shame doesn't really go away. And it does in some way rob you of the journey of like making the decision your own. When somebody's bullied you into doing something and you're doing it to be accepted or to not have to deal with the shame that they give you or the names that they call you, it kind of robs you of your own choice in the matter. So when you look back at like that time you got fit, it could be this like really triumphant thing that you did, but instead it's like, oh, I remember what that guy called me, or the pain and the depression that led to the choice that I made. Now, of course, it works for some people. Do not get me wrong on that, and it's a motivator for a lot of people, but it just sucks to look back on something like that and not have the choice of been your own,
Chicken Pork Adobo again says, I have a friend who's around 150 kilograms. She's pretty. After 3 years not seeing her, she's now 80 kilograms and freaking hot. That every F-boy will be unfaithful.
Okay. Good for her, I guess.
F-boys will be unfaithful, aren't they?
Aren't they already?
Unfaithful?
Yeah, I guess he's saying that she can get all the F-boys. But yeah, by definition, I think they would be unfaithful. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Good for her.
Yeah, interesting flex. 35 never felt so good again says, I didn't know I was going to be getting a double dose of Fresh and Fit today. Hey, Taylor, when are you going to go back to the gym? Looks like it's been a while.
Oh, my gosh. Now he's trying to shame you.
Yeah.
He's trying to use Myron's tactic.
Good. I'll take it into good motivation.
Taylor goes to the gym regularly for your information.
Was there this morning and yesterday. Thank you very much. Lepardi says, remember, folks, there's no friends or foes in the world, just teachers. They will teach you what to do and what not to do.
I don't know about that. I got foes. I have ops. I have ops and I have friends. I don't know about that. But yeah, everything is a learning lesson. That's for sure. I agree with that. I get what you're trying to say.
Raised by a Wolf says, your ignorance on this topic is horrifying. Most toxic I've ever seen you. So much I want to say, but not enough space. We'll have to catch a different episode.
Please, you'll have to leave it in the comment. I don't know what's toxic about this episode. There's nothing toxic about your life being well within your control and having so many healthy options and being motivated in a positive manner. So you'll have to let me know. Give me a bullet point list of the toxicity in this episode, because your girl doesn't feel it.
It's kind of rare when you get called like horrifyingly toxic. So
it is rare.
It's a big day.
It is a big day.
Of all the people that could be called out as toxic.
On all the topics too. This is a funny one to be called toxic on. It's me saying you can be healthy.
Robbie Lee says, "Hey, I'm a movie blogger from Vietnam, and I'm somewhat center left, but I find myself agreeing with a lot of your opinions. My younger brother also listens to you all the time."
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you feel comfortable listening to it, even though you might be in a different realm of belief. That's super cool. Somebody said in the comments down below, found the op. I just said I do have foes and I do have ops. And then we got an op super chat about my toxicity level. It's all right.
Hilarious.
We'll survive. We learned a lesson.
Let's see. I think this might be our last one from Celtic Blacksmith. Says, "I'm shopping around for a stationary bike right now. If I work it during your lives and your show runs this long, I'll be an Olympian god in about 3 days."
That's
Just
what's
goofing,
up.
no complaints.
That's what's up. It really could be. I feel like, those like Peloton instructors. I heard Peloton is really wild where you can just sit and they'll like talk to you, and some of them yell at you and have like different personality traits and stuff like that. We should do a Peloton version of our show where in between the stories I tell you what what pace to be going at and stuff. That'd be hilarious.
Back in the day when I was on this social team, I think PragerU, they used to do like every hour on the hour 10 or 20 push-ups, and it was like, oh guys, it's time to do it. And that was like an awesome feature, so maybe we could incorporate that into the show. We're 30 minutes in, time to everybody do 10 push-ups.
My arms would be like noodles after that, I'm sure, if you have to do that multiple times a day. Oof.
Let's see, one more coming in late. Sasha O'Neill says, "Hey guys, the song is called Hypnotized by Yaron Rimac, and the one I heart from PragerU was called Wavy Type by Apollo. I do 2 hours of park every day or 1 hour gym."
Nice. Dope. Love that for you, Sasha. And thank you for putting the names of the songs that we used on this show. For those of you who are asking, she just did you a favor and hooked you up with the 2 different songs. Love that. Thank you so much, Sasha, for that. And yeah, that's it. Speaking of, I'm going to be going to the gym after this. I'm going to have dinner with a friend tonight, but I'm going to hit the gym before, get that workout in, get that sweat out a little bit. Okay. So we are going to close out the show today. Thank you guys for sticking around for a very long one today. Hope you enjoyed. As always, drop your thoughts in the comments down below, especially if you disagree. We were called toxic on today's episode, so I would love that person to leave a comment down below and let us know just how. Let me know just how. CLJ says, Myron equals bad delivery of a positive message. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Many good things he had to say, but it just wasn't backed with positivity, which didn't really work specifically for me. Let me know how you felt about his delivery in the comments down below. As always, if you liked this video, like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time we're live. That's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. Plus, we post videos for you guys every single day. Tomorrow's video is about a young girl being called out for cultural appropriation, but turns out she wasn't appropriating anything at all. So keep an eye out for that. Be on the lookout. I will see you guys tomorrow. And with that, I bid you adieu. Bye, guys.